boys as well inside of the top 10 as they run round turn number 1. Lawrence got a good start away. They've kept themselves nice through the consistency. 5 lights, and we're underway at Suzuka for the final race of the season. It's a scramble towards turn 1 for the front runners and the whole field in behind as Mazzaroli leads them through 1 already. Davison and Sinise wanting to try and keep right on the tail of Doug Gowans. Mazzaroli wants to try and hang up the front all evening as well. Faze there, Katakazinas.
Yes, he did. Still going at each other here. 3 minutes down, we've got 70 minutes to go. They're going to go around a lot more time. Just 1 minute 21 lap times here. We're not going to stop Shane Ratcliffe by now as well. Ray Oliver's got Bradley Wall alongside. Looks like Daniel Harding has had some form of incident. We'll pick up on that one in a minute. But Oliver on the inside, got to come back behind him.
Has just absolutely Superman punched him straight into the wall on the left hand.
Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special event that only happens 4 times a year. the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. We are out here tonight at the Bend, and we have representatives from the FDL League, from the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, and from SRW. We are going to be hunting it out there on this amazing Bend with 40-plus drivers going for it. The Australian Open Wheel National brings together the best of the best in Australian sim racing, with the elite drivers from FDL, GSR and SRW going head-to-head in thrilling open wheel battles, competing only 4 times a year. This championship showcases pure skill, speed and strategy in a clash of Australian top leagues titans. Be part of this achievement, you have to do one thing: join SRW, join FDL, or join the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club and race in the respective leagues to get in there and get in on the action. Ladies and gents, we have got a long night ahead of us. Practice is on the go. Downstairs pushing the buttons like he normally does on a Tuesday and Thursday night for SRW is Kobe Jordan. And beside me tonight, the man, the legend, the Queenslander from up above that hates the different time zones, Mr. Zach Caban. Welcome to the room, buddy.
Hanging out for Sunday morning like kids are hanging out for chocolate. I'm hanging out for the time switch. And, of course, with that, Happy New Year to all of our Queensland audience in advance for Sunday morning. It'll be lovely to be in sync with the rest of the Eastern Seaboard again. I knew you'd start off on that note, Sinker. Good evening to you, and good evening to Mr. Jordan. Good evening to everybody tuning in right around Australia, right around the world, in fact. Rarity for us, Sinker, to be on air live, exclusive and free on a Tuesday night on the GSRC platforms. This is normally our off night, mate, but we'll make exceptions because, some of our guys are, of course, trying to fry bigger fish tomorrow night. This is the first of a big week of events, sim racing in this country. Tonight it's the Australian Open Wheel Nationals, the 7th edition thereof. We've stayed in South Australia somehow. I don't know how we managed to stay in South Australia, back-to-back events in this lovely part of the world, the City of Churches. And then, of course, tomorrow night, many of our guys are jumping over, swapping open wheelers for tin tops, competing in the first round of the, again, MOZA racing. So it's great to have some continuity there with regards to sponsors. But it'll be the opening round of the Porsche Pro Invitational Series. So we wish everybody the best of luck there as well. So to avoid an overlap and avoid, obviously, trying to divide and conquer, we've moved to the Tuesday night. Everybody wins. You can sit back and enjoy 2 quality nights of sim racing competition. And to be fair, Sinker, we've been trying to get to the Bend for a while, mate. I love that we're here. I love even more that we're on the West configuration. Someone said yesterday that the East configuration is the best, and I firmly disagree with that. I think when it comes to racing and racecraft, this is the configuration of this mecca that is, as I like to refer it, Casa de Shahin, that puts on the best spectacle by far and above. And we've seen it on many occasions. Casa de Shahin, Castle of Sam and Yasser Shahin.
I thought you were getting some food out, mate. I was getting hungry already. I was thinking, oh, that sounds very tasty out there, mate. Mate, it is something different. It is, look, we do what we can to accommodate the community, and that's the most important thing for all 3 leagues. We're trying to make the best step forward every time we get out there and do this championship, and the best step forward is to work as a community and get it out there and everyone share it. So if you're out there right now getting ready to sit down with some popcorn, you got about 20 minutes before the boys start qualifying. Popcorn, drinks ready. Like, subscribe, and share the crap out of this to all your mates that love open wheelers, and tell them to share it, because we have got 40 of the best out there tonight that deserve to have lots of eyes and ears watching this stream, watching how damn good these guys are.
Absolutely. And to be fair, it's a nice little legacy and tradition that this event has become, Sinker. You and I have been here for every single one of them. We haven't left disappointed by the quality of the spectacle on any of the previous 6 occasions. I dare say the same is going to apply to edition number 7, which, and I hate to say it right off the top, I hate to be the cliche rolling in with the dad jokes, but somebody will be lucky tonight. It will be lucky 7 for somebody. Will it be Sam Chapman winning his 3rd Australian Open Wheel Nationals, or will somebody else step up to the plate and join a very impressive honour roll? The obvious question, the elephant in the room, will the great people at SRW finally get on the board, Sinker, or are we going to be letting the drought continue for another 13 weeks?
Mate, I must be going through droughts in my life, full stop. We won't go into details, but Look, I'm not even going to try to suggest that one of my boys can win it tonight, because every time I thought I was a little bit confident, it just wasn't happening for it. So you know what? Tonight, it's all about the race. It's going to be out there. If someone does win it, it can't be the legend Chapman again. And for God's sake, not again. Even though he's good enough to do it, we can't be doing that again. There's got to be it's got to be someone else's turn. Maybe an SRW driver might get some. It's a mayhem. It's not like a league night where people can play the big picture and drive a certain way for the end result at the end of the season. This is a one-off grand final, so it really is cojones to the wall and give your best foot forward. And sometimes you just got to take that little bit of risk. But SRW drivers been very unfortunate when it comes to that.
Yes, normally unfortunate with each other, quite frankly. And I'm very glad you didn't elaborate on the drought factor as well, mate, because this is a family program and it's only knockoff time on the West Coast at the moment. However, can we highlight too, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see throughout the evening, we'll bring you qualifying live. We'll bring you every single element of that 15-minute qualifying session, 1 hour race. That part of it remains unchanged. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. The format remains the same. 1 hour to determine who will be the Australian Open World Nationals champion. But with just 17 minutes to go in practice, the top 28 are covered by less than a second. That's how tight it is around here at Shell V Power Motorsport Park. 3.41 kilometres this course. And fast becoming a favourite among the sim racing community in this country. We were talking pre-show, Sinker, and a lot of people at home won't be privy to this until now. Our broadcast thread in Discord, where we organise events like this and coordinate together the three organisations, we were all trying to do the form guide per se, and everybody settled on Sebastian Eskandari, and quite rightly. The bloke's only 13 years old. He's kicking goals all over the world. And at the moment, it might be a bad omen for him because we've all backed him, but he's on top of the timesheets at the moment by 0.07 of a second from Danny Davison, who's due some luck in one of these events, quite frankly.
Danny Davison, yeah, he's been around the traps, and he does wander in and out of the... in and out of bad luck. Maybe we can get Sebastian out on screen now while he's doing while he's out there doing his warm up. Kobe downstairs. While we talk about something, he's just popped in. Davey Davison's on track, so let's lead with one of those two. While we're talking about these drivers, we can probably lead out and see how they're going for their practice sessions. But it is a game of luck out there. I haven't seen Sebastian drive. I heard a lot about the young fella. I've had our experience of young boys in our league as well, that 13 and 14. Rian Leonage is one that raced in our series for quite a while. We had the young Kiwi boy a few years back that raced for us and won the Porsche Championship, ended up getting himself a Chowder GR86 run and ended up at Bathurst all the way from New Zealand. So it's strongly becoming the real world of racing. Max Verstappen is leading the way out there with his racing team, giving sim racers the opportunity to drive the GT3s, and he's done that with one of his teammates. And it's showing that it is a big stepping stone towards that the way of life in motorsport.
Exactly right, and it's nice to see actually the symmetry now that wasn't always there. There's a lot more crossover, there's a lot more communication, there's a lot more coordination between the sim world and the real world. I mean, let's be perfectly honest, still got to bring your budget with you to the real world, but it's nice to see a couple of names from the real world stepping back into the sim world, because it's not lost on anybody the extra attention, the eyeballs, the interest that brings with it. Perfect example, we had Shane Van Gisbergen line up in the ASRG Bathurst 1000 last year. Dylan O'Keefe from the real world steps into the Porsche Pro Invitational tomorrow night. We've had real world races pop up and race on a regular basis on the platforms of the GSRC too. So, no, I love it. It's one of the great aspects of what we do, because as we highlighted through COVID, and I can't believe that I'm prefacing that without a trigger warning for those of you that still have nightmare flashbacks to that period of our lives of insanity, but the reality of the matter is, Sinker, that was one period in time where it became clear to everybody that as far as participation in sport is concerned, nothing beats the real world experience unless you're in motorsport, because this is as close as many of the community will ever get, and it's their best avenue. This is their best outlet. You don't have this training, breeding ground in football, in cricket, in AFL, in any different ball sport, basketball, netball, etc. It's unique to motorsport, and we embrace it, and we're still embracing it 6 years after the pandemic, of course. We're very lucky. There's a lot of sports that would envy the tool that iRacing is, in terms of the way in which the motor racing community uses it as a platform and as an avenue to stay match fit.
Look, it's 100%, and it's not just that side of it. The admin side of it is exactly the same as real world racing as well.
Yeah.
I mean, all us leagues survive off sponsorships, just like the real world racing does. All the teams out there survive on sponsorship, just like the real world does. It's all about getting popular and getting people around and seeing what these guys can do, just like the real world does. So we are the only dissimilar thing that between us and the real world is, it costs you a lot less repair because you just push the button. Tyres are a lot cheaper. We don't have to worry about wars because fuel is for free. And the other thing is your wife's happy because you finished in 2 hours instead of being gone for 2 weeks.
Actually, that's a good point. There's a lot of people that are drawing comparisons from that area of our lives, 2020, 2021, to what's unfolding at the moment. And are we heading in the same direction? Are we going to be compromised in our ability to roam about and live our normal life freely? Maybe the sim racing community is on the cusp of another surge in prominence, in popularity, in participation, whatever the case may be. That was unplanned alliteration, by the way. But yes, it's a very strange time in our world at the moment. But as you rightly point out, this is the far cheaper alternative. Although that brings with it a couple of trip hazards, right? So obviously the economics of it work out far better, but it can be equally as time consuming, in some cases more so, because let's be honest, it's right there in your own house. You haven't got to move too far to go and travel the world, figuratively speaking. So I know there are some long-suffering wives and girlfriends of the sim racing community who would wish more than anything that they actually had to leave the house to go and jump in the sim rig, because it would compromise their ability to do so on such a regular basis. But no, what we have here is very special, mate. It's a community. It's an escape from the insanity of the real world, the pressures of day-to-day life. And we love it. So let's embrace it. Let's enjoy it. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the playground for tonight. It was a unanimous vote that we needed to avoid the puddles of Mount Panorama and the concrete walls there. And, of course, the Destruction Derby, or Demolition Derby, whichever you want to refer to it. It was both. That was the streets of Adelaide. So we've only moved so far down the road, obviously. We're still in South Australia. But at least, as you can see here, ladies and gentlemen, plenty of runoff area to work with. So hopefully we're going to have a cleaner run tonight.
Definitely have a cleaner run tonight. I've just seen while we were going gas bagging through the Endofus, this pit exit is right on the race line as these boys are coming down the main straight. And we've just had 2 close calls in practice. Now, in qualifying mode, the car on track will have the roll as we have one of the boys ride that curb too high. Oh, we're straight in the side. 2 teammates from Proline destroying each other through there. Hope he wasn't on a big direct drive. So in the qualifying phase, the driver on track has the right of way, but during the race, the driver entering the circuit will have right of way. So it's going to be interesting to see how that comes across during the race and during the qualifying, because it gets messy very quickly. It's very short across that straight, and the pit entrance comes out right in the wrong spot.
But at least people are aware of it, and they have been made aware of it or alerted to it and said, this is the protocol, this is the procedure, this is how we're going to go about it. So it's being policed before the fact, rather than springing up on anybody as a surprise. And every racetrack's different, Sinker. We were talking about this with, I think it was Mazzano a few weeks ago. Every racetrack's different. Some, of course, have a magnificent, smooth, easy flowing sort of return to the circuit. Some don't. Some are very different. So you look at Abu Dhabi, for instance, you go down under the tunnel and rejoin over at turn 3, I think it is, the sweeping right-hander, but at least you're off the racing line. You look at Misano in Italy there, the circuit Marco Simoncelli, they're going around that right-hander at turn 3. The drivers on the racing line, naturally, they're heading out towards the left-hand side of the racetrack, the outside, which is exactly where the pit exit is. We saw contact there in a GT3 race recently because of that contretemps, that trip-up, and that line of sight just not being there, that peripheral vision just not being there for race car drivers. Phillip Island, another example of cars coming straight back out onto the racing line. Mount Panorama, not so much, but still, every racetrack different with regards to pit lane. But this is a point that is often highlighted. Know your pit entry, know your pit exit, know your limits, right? So, and that not necessarily referring to the end of the pit lane, but when you think about the start of the pit lane, the one thing you've got to nail is knowing where the control line is. At the end of the pit lane, you've got to know exactly what's going to be around you when you're heading back out onto the racetrack. Right, we've got 7 minutes left in this practice session. Sebastian Eskandari still remains on top. Denny Davison, Jackson Rayhana and Brodie McConkey, the top 4 at the moment. Kane Ryder and Craig Edwards make up the top 6. GSRC Super Formula Light champion, Daniel Yeaman. I haven't seen him out there as yet. There he is. He's only done 2 laps so far. So Yeaman's a late arrival, probably got held up at work or something. And he is sitting there in 32nd position at the moment. But one thing about Yeaman, he races well. So expect big things from him tonight, provided that he can keep it clean and stay out of incidents or ending up in an incident as an innocent bystander. Plenty to factor in there because, as you've seen already, ladies and gentlemen, 38, 39 cars are going to be zooming down the main straight towards turn 1. So everybody's going to have their wits about them on that opening lap sinker to make sure that they can get through unscathed, with the bigger picture in mind that it's not one on the first lap, it's one in the 60th minute.
This is very true, and it's something that we've seen happen a lot in this championship as well. It's shouldn't call it a championship, it's the event, because safety cars come in. We've seen lots of guys that were out there leading like about 4 or 5 seconds at a time, and the safety car comes out and it's all bunched up, and then it's down to the last lap. It's happened more than once. If you want to go back and watch it, they're available on YouTube. And runoff is sensational across here, so hopefully we won't get ourselves, unless a car actually dies on the track, but we won't get ourselves a safety car. It's not going to be as easy to get a safety car as it was at Adelaide, that's for sure. There's no chicanes with a wall that blocks up like a toilet. This is all opened up and ready to go. There is a few places that the viewers will see that the drivers can take liberties with on the race line. And one of the corners was discussed today, and the boys were made aware of it and what they can do. It's natural racing line. I'm not sure if you can find it at the moment, Kobe. You'll see it in one of the really long, wide right-handers where it opens up, where the drivers will be allowed to cross over there.
I think it'll be this one over here at there's one here at turn 4.
It's coming up now, I think.
And I think you're referring to the crossover point where the West Circuit lines up with the International. Is that right?
I think so. You'll see it coming up right now. We're on
down
board
this straight, down towards the what is the right-hander. There's the left-hander. They go out along the International Circuit. That's the point. Yep, right there.
And right here on the exit as well. So the entry and exit of that point there. So the drivers can go off there. The white line is generally the permitted area to run into, but iRacing gives you liberties across that. Like there are other tracks that have similar sort of aspects to it. The drivers just going to be careful that they don't get on the green. Once they get on the green, they're deemed to be off track in those sections.
Yeah, we refer to that as the Watkins Glen, the NASCAR approach of racing, where any bit of bitumen is fair play. And you've only got to look back through the years of real world and sim world racing around there to know exactly what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. 3 minutes 50 left in what is being dubbed the warm-up, but it is the 2-hour elongated practice session here to set the scene. Of course, we're just coming up on 5 o'clock on the West Coast, 8 o'clock on the eastern seaboard, 10 o'clock in New Zealand. We're burning the candle if you're over in the land of the long white cloud tonight. A late finish for what is going to be an epic instalment of the Australian Open World Nationals. Number 7. Yep, hard to believe. We've got to number 7. We've been to Silverstone. We've been to Magello. We've, of course, done a 3 on home turf, Phillip Island, Bathurst, the streets of Adelaide, and there's one I'm missing in there as well. But now the Bend to host event number 7. And one that we're very much looking forward to. So, if nothing else, we're running out of options on home turf, Sinker. We might have to go back international for the next one, but
that really good tracks coming up, mate.
That won't be an issue
coming up by our racing.
Until we get to edition number 8 in about 13 weeks' time. Let me ask you this, because obviously we've established that our friends from FDL are probably the unbackable favourites going in tonight with Sebastian Eskandari. But if someone was to fly the flag from SRW, please, who would it be?
There's some really good weapons out there. Geordie Slater on his night is extremely fast. Dougie Gowan's on his night is extremely fast. It really comes down to the boys picking up a good rhythm. Jason Depp has been spectacular as a Pro-Am, finished 3rd outright in our series this last few weeks. You know, Daniel Burns, an open wheel specialist who hasn't been in open wheels for a while, he's just come back into the car again, so it can be very, very fast. Tom Donoghue is the FDL owner. He won the championship at SRW this season with an impeccable run, very smart driving and very patient driving. So it's going to be down. There's a couple that can do it, but you know what? You look at Jackson Round. You know, how many times have we thought he was going to win the damn thing, and he's had bad luck. It's one of those things. It's a grand final. You could be out there leading. We've seen Dylan DeBono leading this championship, this event, the first run out by like 5 seconds. Out came the safety car, ended up tangling with one of his teammates. So it's one of those things. It's all the way down. You can't just race it from the very beginning. You got to race it all the way through. Try to stay safe. Try to stay clean. Be smart about it. And that's a big thing. Look at this. Like, this happens during the race. It's going to be one of those things. Who's going to be smart enough to pull out to fight another day? Who's going to put their money on the move? And, you know, it could go over the way. You only get one chance. You don't get to come back next week and do it again. It's tonight and tonight only. So if you put a move on, you've got to bet your bottom dollar. It's got to be 100% move, or you're going to end up in the wall and your race is finished.
The Algarve International Circuit in Portimao, Portugal was the one that I was just trying to think of there, where Marcus Watson coughed and spluttered over the line and Chapo pipped him at the post. Another memorable instalment of the Australian Open World Nationals. Bloody hell.
This was spectacular. Fuel, tyres, it's all going to be in effect. Everything.
Absolutely. Qualifying will commence in 60 seconds was the word from race control, ladies and gentlemen. Standing by for that. Once qualifying gets underway, I'm sure there'll be a bit more detail and data and information on your screen there on the left-hand side under the totem pole that currently says the Australian Open World Nationals and the warm-up with the clock counting down. And we'll give you some running updates with regards to who's who in the zoo. We're very excited about this, ladies and gentlemen. As Sinker said, we only get to do it 4 times a year. And this is the first instalment of 2026. It promises to be an absolute beauty. Sebastian Eskandari goes in as the unbackable favourite at the moment. Winks like odds for him to go out and win this thing tonight. Danny Davis and Jackson Rayhan. I'd love to, like, I shouldn't say this because he's not racing under the GSRC banner, but I'd love to see Jackson Rayhan win it for all the reasons you just mentioned there. And he's got an invitation to jump onto the Porsche grid tomorrow night as well to fill a slot left by the inavailability of another competitor. So looking forward to seeing him out there tomorrow night. Let's watch this, ladies and gentlemen. The entourage head out onto the racetrack to start the sighting lap, if you like, to then turn wheels in anger. What will be interesting here, Sync Up, so you were talking earlier about everything, all bets being off come the final lap if there are 2 or 3 contenders in the mix. Don't be surprised if we see a crash in a straight line tonight, which is normally frowned upon in motorsport unless you're intentionally wrecking NASCAR style. But don't be surprised if you see the bang of wheels, because they don't like that in open wheelers and the cars respond accordingly. What will be interesting for mine, mate, there's a big advantage, I'm sure, in the slipstream down the main straight here, but it'll be interesting to see whether any of these contenders want to go it alone or if they're already having discussions about working with somebody. Is it one of those circuits where you want to have a dance partner, or would you be comfortable going alone?
Look, you got to be smart out here. If a guy's getting away, he might not be in your team. Might not be. You might not have the guy who's beside you who's part of your team. But you know what? Use your brains and try to catch up. And that's the way I sort of try to race it and everything like that. Cobes, if you want to put my screen across, we'll have the times coming up now in the quali breaks. But one thing as viewers just want to just to point out for you guys out there, it's an hour-long race. So tonight's a 15-minute qualifying session. It will go all the 15 minutes. So as long as the driver crosses the line before the 15 minutes is finished, he's entitled to finish his lapped time and get across the line and do the fastest shootout as he gets there. When we do in other series that we've got, when you run multiple events in the one night, the 15-minute just drops a hammer and it's all over Red Rover. But yeah, these guys are out there now and starting to register some times. I'm getting a bit excited, to be honest.
Yes, as we should be at this particular point in time. What better way to end the first quarter of 2026, by which I mean it is March 31, April Fool's Day tomorrow. Don't fall victim to the cesspit of attempted humour that's going to litter your social media feeds tomorrow morning, ladies and gentlemen. You've been warned. April Fool's Day, right up until about 12 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Not a safe place to be. The internet, I would hazard a guess. But yes, what better way to finish March and the first quarter of 2026? In every sense of the word, this is a little bit of overtime for our GSRC members. Turn 1 wrapped up for us on Friday night just gone, with, of course, launching into term two on April 13, Monday, April 13. So we've got the Easter break off, but this is a little bit of overtime for our guys. And what better way to start the second quarter of the year than, of course, the new Porsche Pro Invitational Series. A lot to be excited about this week. Greg Cook already showing off the road. Sebastian Eskandari is going to be the man to beat here, ladies and gentlemen. And we're watching the first laps be turned in anger in qualifying. Going to be important to get out and get a banker early, put a marker down, then maybe, if necessary, reset and go again. And you're not going to have too many opportunities to do that because the sinker's already highlighted. This is only a 15-minute session. So get out, bank the number, and if necessary, go through the motions and roll around again. But you wouldn't want to be making mistakes. There's no margin for error here because it could be the difference between a top 10 and an outside top 30 start in about 12, 13 minutes time.
Yeah, Eskandari's just come across with two purple sectors in the second and third, so he's already warming up there. Geordie Slater, he's got himself the purple at the front sector as well. So the boys are still getting a bit of heat in their tyres. We'll start to see the lap times starting to come down. But also keep in mind out there, anyone that's racing out there, they've got to do the right thing as well. They can't just slow down wherever they want. They've got to follow proper race procedures, because if they are deemed to be impeding someone out there, they will get themselves a pit lane start. That is part of the rules out there too. So they've got to be very careful. They've got to do all the right things everywhere they go. And also, look at that. Just a little bit hairy out there, Danny Davidson. He's a bloody good driver, Danny. He's just what I've seen from him is he's very well equipped to win something like this. He just needs a little bit of luck on his side. He seems to get caught in the vortex every now and again.
Yep. And
I call the vortex, the area where you're surrounded by someone a little bit less skillful than you, and they do the silly thing. Sebastian Eskandari is again two purple sectors front section, so he's leading him out there. But it's going to be very interesting to see how he goes tonight. He's always been at the pointy end of this race, but it might be his night. Who knows?
Not sure why there's a yellow flag out at the moment, ladies and gentlemen, but we are green for qualifying. Just getting that reference off the top. There we go. Off the top left-hand corner of the screen. I thought that might have been AOWN, not iRacing then. But we fixed that. So, yes, we are green. The one thing you won't see up there tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is red, because iRacing hasn't yet fine-tuned what a red flag procedure would look like. Could you imagine that being the next step of evolution for iRacing, Sinker? Of course, they've got the weather system, the Tempest weather system in there. I think that's That's the next logical step. Let's have a look at this, though. Sebastian Eskandari on the absolute limit here. 108.809. Ryan Bell, 108.973. Now he backs out of it. He's going to get set to go again. He's got company there as well, if you don't mind. We'll have to work out exactly who that is following him through.
Project 36 drivers. I think that might have been Dave Lawler, the AM champion from this series, following him through there. But he was lucky he's just slowed down right in time to follow him through. The smart ones will be trying to chase some of these faster boys around and get a bit of a toe down this main straight. I'm seeing this main straight here, 2-3 wide, coming into this tight right-hander, into a bit of an S, 2 wide coming through, maybe a third partner trying to squeeze in there, and maybe a car disintegrating, because we know how much these cars love contact at high speed.
That's going to be our first issue, I think, lap 1, turn 1. Everybody, as I said earlier, trying to keep their wits about them to get through there unscathed. I think somebody might end up tripped up or checked up. Ryan Bell, Denny Davison, Ryan Borg, Jackson Rayhana all follow Sebastian Eskandari at the moment. To give you an indicator of where the goalposts are, Sam Chapman, a 2-time winner of the Australian Open World Nationals, has just slotted up to 20th. He was 28th, and at the moment the top 28 are covered by less than 0.9 of a second. That's how fine a margin we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to be too far off the pace to be buried in the field. 7 minutes and 45 seconds to go. So essentially, we're at the halfway mark of qualifying. Sebastian Eskandari has already punched out 5 laps. He's out now on his 6th. He remains one of only 4 drivers to have clocked a 108 so far. So 108, high 108s, low 109 seems to be where the goalposts are, the markers are at the moment. And Eskandari is carrying over that pace that we saw from him in practice and is so far the benchmark, the man to beat.
Yeah, just to give the viewers a bit of scope of the pace out there at the moment, all the way down to 30th is 1 second 0.05. All the way to 30th. It's now gone to 31st, so the gap is so close of these boys. It is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Eskandari is out there by 2 100ths over the top of Ryan Bell. So the fight is close. He's the man to beat tonight, but looking at it, but geez, they're close. And yeah, at the end of the day, I'm not sure. I know Eskandari is a good driver, but some of these other boys, are they one-lap specialists? Are they going to be able to maintain this pace all the way through the race as well? That's a different story altogether. So the highlight of the story will come out at that first corner, like you mentioned, and see who's going to be brave or who's going to be silly and bet it all on black on the first corner as well. So it's you know what, we're all racers, and sometimes people get between those white lines, a bit of black stuff in the middle, and it's all over Red Rover. It's the fangs come out, the nostrils flare, and the vents come out opened, and it's all gone. But I'm itching for this with 6 minutes to go. Yeah. We've got an amazing top 10 as Angus Milne just popped himself up in the third place from everything simulated racing up to 108.917. Eskandari's just improved again, mate. He's gone to a 0.639. Yeah. So 2/10 ahead of Ryan Bell at the moment. Tell us a bit about Ryan Bell. What's his background? I think he's one of the FDL boys.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm the wrong person to be asking about that because I don't work with the FDL stable. Tom did reach out to me about doing some stuff, but he hasn't followed up on that conversation as yet because I told him to contact my people.
You know what? They probably heard that you get paid by the syllable, and he thought, hell no.
Well, this is the point, right? As you know, and I don't mind disclosing this on air because I said exactly the same thing to Tommy. I said, if it's not perceived as a conflict of interest with the GSRC, if you need a fill-in, because he only approached me about being a sub fill-in co-commentator from time to time. I said, as long as it's not perceived as a conflict of interest with my current club that I'm aligned with, all good and well, but go through the club first. So I dare say that's where discussions may have stalled. Ryan Bell showing off the road at the moment as we talk less house on air and more racing. Sebastian Eskandari, as you're saying, now one of only, what have we got, 7 drivers now. Tom Donohue's the latest to jump into the high 8s. Ryan Borg just ahead of him. Denny Davison in 5th. He was 2nd a few minutes ago, but Ryan Bell, Angus Milne and Brodie McConkey have all jumped up. And the margin is astonishing, right? So Eskandari's got 0.18 on the field. 0.18 on the field. So then you look at that sinker. all the way then down to Thomas Sinner, who is 1.00 off the mark. So 108.639 is where the goalposts are, and Sinner's a 109.635. So that's 30 drivers within 0.81 of a second.
Yeah,
because we're
crazy,
allowing for the 0.18 margin that Eskandari has on Kane Ryder, who's now jumped up into second. Ryder up into second ahead of Bell. They're 0.018 apart from Eskandari, so it's come down to the thousandths of a second that Ryder has pipped Bell by, and all of a sudden Ryan Borg's now been relegated to 8th. Tom Donoghue tonight. Jackson Rayhana is 10th with the 109.005. He's that close to being in the 8s. Holy smoke.
They're starting to fire up. These boys are starting to set some amazing times out there, but it's still very, very close. It just shows you that we've got the right formula out there. Across 3 leagues, we're picking 40 amazing drivers out there who are very, very close. It's just going to be consistency across all these laps. With 3.5 minutes to go, people, some of these boys are going to be setting some purples on their sectors. As we just saw Eskandari hit his second sector purple, second papaya. Let's see how he comes across on the 3rd sector as he comes through.
Dan Ackland showing up
to be able to improve again. He's improved. No, he hasn't improved. He was only 1/1000th off his previous best time. As we see a couple of boys also running off the track, getting out of the way as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this congestion on track is going to unfold during race time.
How good's the side-by-side coverage you've got there too, ladies and gentlemen, on the screens of SRW, of course, also being simulcast across the FDL and GSRC platforms. That's Adam Lavis, I reckon, out of the road at the moment. Eskandari Ryder doing the same thing right now. It'll be interesting to see who decides to park it and call it quits early here in order to get back out. In order to get back out on the racetrack and maybe have a late run, last roll of the dice sort of thing, or they're just going to say, look, we're not going to get any more out of the car. Let's just park it, cut our losses, and then focus on the race. So let's wait and see how this plays out. If you're on track at the moment, chances are you're probably going to get 2 more rolls at the dice because the flag will fly in 2 minutes and 4 seconds time. But anyone that gets past the control line before that flag flies can finish the lap they're on. Eskandari 0.018 to Ryder and Bell. Ryder are now a 108.814.009 ahead of Ryan Bell. So he has managed to wrestle a little bit more out of that Team Max Boost entry. Team Max Boost 1-2 at the moment. I don't think we had that in the script, in the form guide coming into the night, but that's the work that Team Max Boost are capable of under the guidance, the leadership of the quality 13-year-old Sebastian Eskandari. He and Kane Ryder are here and they mean business.
They do, mate. I don't think actually anyone out there doesn't mean business at the moment. A lot of people are actually doing the right thing, getting out of their way too when they're on cool-down laps. So it's good to see a lot of sportsmanship out there as well. People aren't getting in the way of each other. But I'm also seeing a lot of dust flying as well, mate. These boys are pushing the very edge and limits of these tracks at the moment, trying to squeeze out everything they can. The improvement has only been a couple of tenths, couple of hundredths as these boys are getting across, and it's still all the way down to 33rd place is a full 1 second difference. 33 out of 43 drivers on track are within 1 second. That is crazy.
Absolutely astonishing. Well, we've got 41 that have clocked the time so far. We did have one competitor turn up that's been already sent packing. And then there's obviously all of our great team in race control as well, Sinker. 20 seconds left in this session. Doesn't look like anybody's going to pip Sebastian Eskandari at this particular point. And he's out now on his last flying lap. He won't get back to the line before the flag flies. This will be it for him.
It'll be very interesting, mate. I'm starting to get a bit toey here. Ryan Bell's finished in the 3rd. Oh, Bell's gone up to 2nd place. He's got himself on the front row. He's got himself on the front row. So that's brilliant bit of work there. We are talking 1/1000th of a second between the two. So that's ridiculous.
FDL 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the moment. Jackson Rayhana comes across the line. This time through, he'll be looking to improve on 7th, so he's got up into the 8s as well. Top 12 in the 8th. Tom Donohue's just pulled up in 12th spot there. Sebastian Eskandari, Ryan Bell, Kane Ryder, Jackson Rayhana to 4th.
Ooh.
With the last roll of the dice, Rayhana to 4th. And only .008 off Kane Ryder. So Team Max Boost 1-3. Ryan Bell with that late run to 3rd and to 2nd, and Rayhana to 4th. Angus Milne, Craig Edwards has lumped himself up into the top 10, firmly in the mid-pack of the top 10 there. 3rd row outside. Then Brody McConkey. Giuliano Senese has got up into the top 10 late in the piece. Tom McGuinness and Denny Davison just has held on to a top 10 starting position. Ryan Borg, Tom Donohue, all there in the top 12. And Mr. Two-time Sam Chapman is buried in the pack in 26.
He's got a guy just got in his way then. He's on a fast lap then too. And someone just got in his way as he came through there. So he is, no, it's not the end of qualifying. I rate the RC's called end of qualifying, but it wasn't. He's entitled to finish his lap.
No. The 15 minutes had already expired. The 15 minutes had already expired. So,
did he already cross the line before the 15 minutes?
Yeah. So, and because it's only a 1 minute and 8 second lap around here, mate, by the time you get to the 16 minutes and 9 seconds, which we'd already surpassed, everyone should have already completed their flying lap. Wow, righto. We are now in the gridding phase, Sinker. This is where everybody starts to get the hair on the back of the neck standing up, and we are ready to go. Have a look at that for a grid, ladies and gentlemen. Sebastian Eskandari alongside Ryan Bell, front row. Kane Ryder, Jackson Rayhana, second row. Angus Milne, Craig Edwards, third row. Brody McConkey and Giuliano Senese, fourth row. Tom McInnes, and the best of your mob, Denny Davison there for SRW on row 5. Take us through rows 6 to 10, please, Sinker.
Mate, we have got 6 to 10, some spectacular guys out there. Ryan Borg and Thomas Donohue are in the 6th row with Daniel Byrne and Texaria in 7th row. Hilly, oh man, I can't even read these things. Mark Healy in 15th place beside Dougie Gowans in row 8. Row 9 is Geordie Slater with Greg Cook, and row 10, Mitchie Noble with Jason Depp flying the SRW colours, those last 4 guys.
Row 11, Alex Stevens alongside Dan Ackland. There are a few new names to both of us tonight. We'll bring you as much intel as we can as we go, ladies and gentlemen, but it's nice to introduce a new audience to some of these drivers as well. Dan Yeoman, the GSRC Super Formula Light Wings and Slicks champion this season, alongside Madeline McGee on the 12th row of the grid. Luke Brooker and two-time champion of the AOWN, Sam Chapman from row 13. Anthony Bate, David Gallo, Callan Hodgkinson and Matthew Neal round out the top 30.
We just keep going, don't we, mate? We just keep going because row 16, we've got Darren Fahey, the OG, the original guy at SRW, is beside the young fella Timothy Schmellenberg. In row 16, we've got Thomas Sunny Sena beside Bradley Hudson, who is a former SRW admin racing for the GSRC boys tonight. In the 18th row, we got A Maverick beside Jay Baldwin. And in the, 19th row, Martin and Rotto. And then 20th row, Sheaf and Lawler. This is going to be spectacular. I think we've got 3 more to go. Did they qualify?
And Greg Barber are going to round out the field there, ladies and gentlemen. And everybody else, I think, is in race control. So,
so race control tonight is Greggy Barber as our race director, and Tyson McAvoy as the race steward, and Stephanie Bacoli and Joshie Horton will be driving the safety car. And I believe there's a JSRC gentleman in there as well. Is it Travis Azzopardi? It
is. It's the great man Travis Azzopardi, who has been one of our prominent race control operators throughout the course of term 1. One of the thankless jobs within the club. Someone's got to do it. Travis put his hand up and he's done a mighty job of it as well. And we are greatly appreciative of it. Also appreciative of the great sponsors that are associated with all 3 clubs that make everything that we do here possible. We'll give them a little bit of a plug later on when time permits. Who's your tip? Quick.
I haven't got one, mate. I'm not even going to dare go that way. Not even dare go that way. I'm going to go, you know what, just to throw it out amongst the pigeons. It's not a likely one, but, mate, I'll put my $1 a million to 1 on Dougie Gowans.
All right.
We are green.
Sebastian Eskandari makes a beautiful start. Look at Rayhana beautifully across in behind Kane Ryder. Ryan Bell down there on the inside, 3 wide. Eskandari's under pressure. Ryder wants to lead it from the front, but Eskandari gets across to cover of his teammate. Ryan Bell around the outside. Kane Ryder on the inside. Rayhana McConkey. Everybody safely through so far. A smooth start here at Shell V Power Motorsport Park. And Ryan Bell taking the fight to Sebastian Eskandari out of turn 3. They're side by side on the run up to turn 4. The 7 and the 23 have already been pinged for jumping the start. Right them out of contention from the outset. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it's a long way back for a drive-through penalty here at the bend.
Yeah, that looks like Dougie Gowans, and I'm not sure who 23 is. It is Adam Maverick. So both those boys will be going a bit of a drive through, courtesy of iRacing picking that up. But these boys are coming through the back end. There's already a few calls coming through. Bell's got it out there. Eskandari is getting nice and close and hugging that apex beautifully. Oh, we've got rotating now. We've got cars off of the track. It's Kane Ryder. Kane Ryder is gone in the dirt with contact.
Can you believe that? Third in qualifying and plummeting down to the bottom of the field on the opening lap of proceedings here at Shell V Power Motorsport Park.
A nice safe re-entry as well. He's got back on the field. We see the drivers that are coming through the penalties are going through the pit lane as we speak. We can go live with the leaders at the moment. We watched the replay of that incident when Kobe's ready. Downstairs is live at the moment, people. You can see these boys coming through and you can see who they are as well. Eskandari is leading that through at the moment.
So, Bell, Eskandari, McConkey, the top 3 here. Oh, trouble. That was the Kane Ryder replay. My apologies. I'm getting too excited. That was the, yep. And that is a big blow to Kane. I mean, it was a great effort to get third on the grid, but qualifying amounts to absolutely nothing when it all goes to the proverbial on the opening laps of proceedings here. Some interesting movers and shakers off the start. Jackson Rayhana's dropped 6 or 7 spots. Sebastian Eskandari and Ryan Bell, they've swapped around. Brody McConkey, and actually that's a great start from Brody, up 4 spots. Craig Edwards up 2, Ryan Borg up 5, and Daniel Byrne up 4 spots. Geordie Slater up 6 spots to be 11th at the moment. Some big moving early on, because the further you get into this race and the more the field spreads out around this 3.41 kilometre circuit, the harder overtaking opportunities are going to be to execute for you, ladies and gentlemen. 57.5 minutes to go, and hope you're enjoying our side-by-side coverage of the 7th running of the Australian Open World Nationals. Great to have everybody on board this Tuesday night. Rare for me to work on a Tuesday night. I'm normally out playing trivia with mates at Club Parkview in Goodna at this time. Sinker, but how could I say no to the AOWN?
You can't, mate, because it's part of the legacy. But have a look at this bottom screen. Chapman and Callan Hodgkinson coming side by side. Mark Hill's involved in it as well. The mid-pack, this is 15th, 16th, 19th place. Yeah. These guys are all side by side, taking liberties around these corners and working for every little bit of track they can. It's amazing to see that from the top to the bottom, there will be fight all the way to the very end. As we saw Mark Hill take the inside line there on Mitchie Noble. Noble missed his braking point and got whipped out of that position. But have a look at this straight away. Noble's trying to get his spot back. He's got Alex Stevenson behind him, and he's trying to get through. Stevenson's gone through as well. This is going to be fighting everywhere, gents. It's going to be amazing stuff. And I reckon I'm picking my voice going by about the 45-minute mark.
Hang on. Jackson Rayhana, pit lane. Was he the other one that jumped the start? Did we miss that memo?
No, it was Adam
Lavis, and who was the other one?
It's Dougie Gowans. So numbers 0, 7 and 23. So they Adam Maverick and Dougie Gowans started.
Well, there goes your 1 to a million.
Prematurely left the starting position. We've got a few people out there saying, "G'day, Mr. Watson's out there. Let's go, Bell. Dust this boy." It's good to see out there a bit of cheering, Mr. Watson. Shame you're not out here on track representing whoever you would be racing with at the moment. But, mate, we've got there's wheels coming off. There's 3 cars in the middle of the track. This could be a safety car if they can't. No, they're apart. 1 car is left a wheel behind. I'm not sure where that car's gone, because there was a third involved.
There's a front wing that's been left behind. There's a rear wing that's been left behind. And as you say, there's a wheel being left behind as well. There it is on replay.
Contact.
3 to 1 doesn't go.
Oh, look at that. Actually, it looks like 2 nose cones. There is 3 in there. They're stuck. They're looked after. It looks like that might have been Mitchie Noble driving away from the scene of the crime. and the rest of the boys too. Maxi Boost cars, I think it was, mate.
Just by the by, Sam Chapman, two-time AOWN champion, up 10 spots already, up to 16th. So there's your big mover early on.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at how this all plays out. Bell, Eskandari, McConkey, and Edwards, Borg, Davison. And look at the gap. It's exploded already. The top two, 3.5 seconds up the road on everybody else at the moment. But this is the thing, right? These two can go like scalded cats and work their way through all night by the looks of this, from what we're seeing early. Everybody else is managing fuel and tyres and trying to play the long game. And obviously there's been a lot of incidents so far play out around these guys. So evasive action and a few other factors have compromised their early running. They'd be praying for a safety car to reel these two back in at the moment, because right now it doesn't look like anything is going to stop these two from duking it out for outright supremacy.
Nah, the only thing that can stop these two is them tangling up with each other when it starts to get desperate points of there. Should be very interesting to see. What do we got? A few people coming up. How does Sinker get the names of these boys right when they get the names of the people commentators every week? Mate, it's a fluke, mate. It's nothing special. Sinker, I think. No. That Magoo, number 7, who jumped, not Gowans. Oh, you might be right. Oh, it was. Yes, you are right. Madeline McGee, 707. Didn't realise we had a number 7 in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dougie Gowans, you mentioned earlier, but there was another penalty up on screen there, 15 seconds for David Gallo. But there's a couple of names you might be able to confirm for me, because I'm seeing I'm sure there's some misreadings coming up through your timing screen at the moment, mate. How many cars have exited the server or just stuck in pit lane at the moment? Because David Gallo's got a 15-second penalty, but he hasn't registered on my timing screen for the last 6 laps.
Again, so have we had I'm not too sure. It looks like I'll see what I can see. I can find him on my thing. It looks like he might have left. No, he's out there. He's on track. There he is. There, Gallo. Yeah, he's just working his way around. Jackson Rehan is just there behind him as well, so you can just see him coming through there. So they're all going out there still battling. Biggest mover so far, mate, from the back of the field, up 8, up. Oh, my system's just gone nuts. Kobe, can you put on places gained on your screen, mate, for us? Because it looks like it's just gone crazy.
There we go.
So,
You're now giving misreadings for the rest of the night, unfortunately.
Yeah, correct.
So I thought something was wrong, and I'm running off the same timing screen that Sinker is, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't think that we'd lost anybody yet, so it's good to know that there are still 42 out there. But obviously, there's just a little bit of a loose wire in the SDK link at your end, unfortunately. So let's go back to the front. Bell and Eskandari, +1, -1, respectively. Biggest mover inside the top 10. Geordie Slater up 10 spots. And, of course, Dan Yeaman, the big loser out of all of this so far. Yeaman, one of a couple that have already been to pit lane and for a good considerable period of time as well. 45, 46 seconds, unfortunately, for those guys. So there's already a few guys that have felt the wrath of the early rip, tear, rush, bust nature of the Australian Open World Nationals and have paid the price. So it doesn't look like... So it looks like that curse is going to continue, right? We've spoken about this before. If you win your club's respective SFL season, it doesn't bode well for your success rate in the AOWN.
Very, very true. Let's see. Donahue is where at the moment? He's our current champion out there, but he's representing FDL. He's in 11th place. So he's not doing too bad. He's only missed 1 place. Ryan Borg has just set the fastest lap, if this is correct, the 108.553. So he's setting that alight big time. SDK settled itself. These boys have pulled away 4.23 seconds at the pointy end. They are on the next level. So their average lap time is a 108, around a 108.6. Everyone else is around 108.9s and onwards. So they are setting a very, very high standard at the pointy end of those two.
I think it'll just be a case of we've had this before on the platforms of the GSRC. Whenever you shuffle the footage back to pick up a replay or something, it tends to not like that SDK. I think that's what the issue might be, Sinker, but we'll wait and see if it plays up again throughout the balance of the evening. 50 minutes to go here, ladies and gentlemen. You're seeing side-by-side coverage because there's that much for us to try and stay across trouble. There's a back marker off the road there. The 956 is picking up a 10-second penalty for lap 1 and an incident that played out there. That's Mitch Noble, of course. Ryan Bell, Sebastian Eskandari. Brodie McConkey's now under pressure from Craig Edwards, Ryan Borg, Denny Davis and Geordie Slater's got Angus Milne for company. Daniel Burns under pressure from Tom McInnes. That makes up the top 10. Donahue and Hilly make up the top 12. Hilly, of course, out there for Logitech G Orbit Drop Air Motorsport. That's a mouthful and a half. And we're looking down through the field. Adam Lavis is trying to recover after that early drive-through penalty for the jump start. In the meantime, have a look at this. Bell's just playing the long game here, and I get the feeling that Eskandari is as well. I think Eskandari is quite content to let Bell tow him along rather than the other way around. I think Eskandari is viewing this as the strategic play to try and put himself in the best possible position to be better off from a fuel standpoint, from a tyre wear standpoint, other factors, as this race plays out, Sinker. I just get the feeling that he's happy to follow until he's in a position to pull the trigger and go and then keep Bell at bay. It doesn't look as though he's in a hurry to do it, and nor should he be, because we're only at the end of lap 10. We're only 11 and a half minutes into the thing.
Mate, his average lap time is sitting there between 1:08.6s and 8s.
Oh.
He's just did a 10. He's just set the fastest lap as I opened my big mouth as he's come a beautiful toe down the main straight. Is he going to have a look at him at the moment, or is he going to keep following through? He's playing the long game here, mate. He's definitely playing. Gallo is getting himself a drive-through penalty. Oh,
so that's another one. Yeah.
Wonder what he's done, Mr. Gallo. He's done something wrong there, so he's got himself for contact. But yeah, it's these two at the front. They're just setting a massive standard, mate. As simple as that. The battle's everywhere. 17 places up is Nicky Martin, the SRW driver, who actually finished third outright last season in this final race that we had for the year. Out of nowhere, he just consistently stayed out of trouble, and he looks like he's playing the same project tonight. Up 17 places in 20th place, so he's following Dougie Gowans through by the look of it.
Indeed, that is the case. Just joining us, these are the early stages of the 7th running of the Australian Open World Nationals. That is Ryan Bell leading Sebastian Eskandari down the main straight here at Shell V-Power Motorsport Park. That's the rejoin issue we were talking about earlier, Sinker, in qualifying. But the boys saw the car exiting pit lane and were well alert to it. No incident as a result of that. Fair play on. But yes, Eskandari plays the long game. You talk to a lot of the drivers, Sinker. They often say, there's not much fuel saving that goes on in this caper, but every milliliter that Eskandari can save here is one less milliliter he's got to take on pit road on the second time through. It'll probably be a full fuel first time through, but the second pit stop is going to be the defining point of the night, if there are 2 pit stops, of course. So I'm basing that on previous assumption based on what we've seen in previous incarnations of the Australian Open World Nationals, of course. So if you've got to do 2 stops here, we're starting to get to the window of opportunity for the first one to be ticked off, but any little bit of, tenth, 100,000th of a second you can save on pit road, be it with your transit, nailing the control line, sitting stationary in the box, any little 1% you can nail there could be the difference between being P1 and P2 at the end of 60 minutes. Right now, there's nothing to suggest that Sebastian Eskandari, he's been in a position on a couple of occasions, but has been patient, and that takes a level of restraint and control, and he's to be applauded for the level head on the shoulders of which he's playing this game, the long run here tonight. It's very clear that he doesn't want to pull the trigger too early. Jackson Rayhan has picked up a time penalty for contact with car 59 on the second lap as well. So things go from bad to worse for Jackson.
Yeah, he's
another Australian Open World National opportunity gone begging.
Yeah, well, not yet, mate. Not yet. Anything has happened. We've seen Chapo come from the way back there, and I was just watching him a few seconds ago. Craig Edwards was having a nice little battle there with Brody McConkie and took him nicely and cleanly across one of the corners. So these boys from third, and fourth coming through here, having a great little run. But Chapo, you never discount him. We know how he is with the fuel saving. He's just there at the moment, sitting in a nice clean spot, nice air in front of him, and cruising through. The things will change very dramatically when we start hitting these pit stops. Having you look at the bottom screen straight away there, Broden McConkie with his teammates swapping places at the moment. Ryan Borg putting pressure on him as well, coming through. But the boys are still battling. This is all the way down, a bit of a lock-up in that rear as well, all the way down to 6, 7 and 8 at the moment in the bottom screen, all the way down to, not like it's down a couple of miles, but it is a fair way away from these boys who are pulling away very, very quickly still.
Yeah, that margin now out to 5 seconds between first and third. Extraordinary pace this early in the piece. It amounts to nothing, of course, if we get a safety car deployed at any particular point in time. They'll be reeled back in. But in saying that, it does give them a tremendous leg up when that safety car is called, because they'll be hitting pit lane before anybody else gets the chance. Let's hope that we don't get any of these guys have safety cars screw their strategy and race opportunity over like it did Oscar Piastri on Sunday afternoon. But in saying that, it was just nice to see Oscar start a race, which is a nice change of pace given how 26 has played out for him so far. Ryan Bell, Sebastian Eskandari, Ryan Borg up there in third spot. Edwards is fourth, and they are duking it out, also duking it out on screen at the moment down towards turn one. I'm just struggling to pick up the red, Joe, on those guys at the moment, but Denny Davis and Brody McConkie are also latching on with Craig Edwards and Ryan Borg, and Thomas Sinker and Darren Fay and a few others. Slater and Milne, Byrne and Hilly make up the top 10. And have a look outside. Jackson Ray Hunter now minus 29 and Dan Yeaman minus 18. Two of the contenders going into the night very much on the outer at the quarter race distance marker, or 2 minutes thereafter. The former champion, Sam Chapman, where's he dropped to? He's still 16th at the moment.
No, he's still doing 16. He's doing really well. There's a few passes that we saw on the bottom screen there with the boys coming through. They're getting stuck into each other a bit more now, so it's interesting to see.
Ryan Bell, pit lane. Here you go. First pit stop. So he's pulled the trigger and gone early. Ryan Bell's on pit lane, ladies and gentlemen. That's routine. That's scheduled. At the end of lap 15, Ryan Bell hits pit lane.
That's at the 18-minute mark too. So that sort of sounds a little bit early for me, mate.
Well, let's wait and see. Let's see how far everybody else gets into the first stint. Let's see how far this pit window transit plays out, Sinker, and then we can start to do some arithmetic. Now, it's not my finest subject, it's not my strongest point, right? But we'll do some mental arithmetic because he's only 2 minutes out from the third race distance marker. So you've only got to get someone to go 2-3 minutes over to realise that the window's a little bit longer or bigger than what Ryan Bell's opted to run with there in the opening stint. And that's all you need, that crossover time, that window to be a little bit longer and a little bit shorter at each end, because it'll obviously give us a parameter with regards. And Borg, McConkie, Davis and Slater all in right now. So pit lane's becoming very, very busy at 18:36. So this seems to be a critical lap, except for Sebastian Eskandari and Craig Edwards. They've gone on to lap 17. So they're going to get to within that threshold of that 20-minute marker, which puts them in a beautiful position for the back end of the race. But should anyone be able to go beyond that, it's going to tell us that the window is, maybe 15 to 18. If it's 19 laps, then this second stint could well be longer, and therefore, in return, the third stint will be a little bit shorter. And I think everybody's a little bit surprised, given open wheel national history, that we've got this far without a caution so far to neutralise the field.
Yeah, well, I think it's the nature of the track at the moment as well. So we've seen a couple of boys have stayed out and not gone in the pits as well. So Brad Hudson, Bell, Edwards, Skandari, Gowans are all joining a little bit of a different strategy there. But while we did that, Mark Hill who was out and about 8th or 9th place, set a fastest lap for the night, or 108.332. So he is on fire out there as well.
Yep, Eskandari then with no surprise to pit lane this time by. So
gotta go.
Lap 17 and not quite the 20-minute marker, but take into consideration the fact that they are going to sit stationary here for a little bit. Take into consideration that it's a long transit. That will buy them the time they need to hopefully get to the 40-minute mark to give them a 20-minute sprint to the line. But now we can start having the discussion, because it's clear that the window is no more than about 17 laps. We can start having that discussion. How far are we going to travel tonight? Well, we're doing just under 70 seconds per lap. So the best way to calculate that is we're going to go 6 laps every 7 minutes, Sinker. So you add that up, 8 7s, 56. You've got a couple of minutes to carry over there. 6 laps because it's 70 seconds a lap. So that's a minute 10, 2, 23, 34, 45, 56, 60 is obviously 7 minutes. So 7 minutes to 6 laps. 6 7s are 42. Let's calculate what that's going to mean, what that's going to translate to. So that'll be 36 laps in 42 minutes. Add another 6 to that. You're getting 42, 48. We're looking at the trajectory of about 51 laps here tonight, should it go full distance, caution free. Maybe take one off for the pit lane transit to accommodate that. But maybe not, because the pit lane transit wasn't too bad. And the stationary times, pit stop times, 4.88 is about one of the quickest I can see there. Some have stayed a little bit longer, 7-8 seconds maybe. But yeah, about 51, maybe 52 laps is where we're heading tonight. So if you've pitted lap 17, you're feeling pretty happy with yourself right about now.
Yeah, you are, and it's not too far from the distance that they travelled in Japan over the weekend as well. That was a 52 lapper, I believe, or a 53 lapper. But Ryan Borg on the bottom screen is setting it alight, following his teammate Brody, and these boys are going cracking pace around the back there. They're probably the closest little battles at the moment. Ryan Bell is now crept onto the back of Sebastian with 2 tenths. That you can see on the top screen, putting some pressure on. The Pro Line boys are everywhere at the moment. They're in all the battles.
Isn't it interesting though, right? So Eskandari obviously stopped later than Bell. The overcut has worked for Eskandari. So he is now going to take up front running. It'll be interesting to see how Bell plays it now. Because, and apologies for the slip up there, we do have a Stephen Bull. So we do have balls and bells and balls everywhere. But no, so there is your first indication as to how Ryan Bell wants to play it, ladies and gentlemen. Straight down the inside, use the slipstream to his advantage, pulls out of the drive, goes for it, and reclaims the lead in the Australian Open World Nationals here across the platforms of FDL, SRW and the GSRC. And that's a very different strategic gameplay to what we saw from Eskandari. Eskandari content to tuck in behind and follow. Bell, no such philosophy. I want to lead from the front, and I want you to follow, and I want you to stay there, quite frankly.
Yeah, we just missed a beautiful pass there by Miguel Costa on Dylan Rollo coming through the back corner, where we showed earlier on how the people are taking liberties of the tracks. Did a beautiful clean pass on the inside line. Looks like Jackson Rehan's making a bit of an attack at the moment as well, with the boys in front of him. If we can just get back to him. But my SDK is doing its head in at the moment. Yeah, there he is there, coming through. This is the direct swap, isn't it? Have a look at this. This is like Twilight Zone moment with these boys switching around. They're going to take it through. They've got another pit stop. I think it's going to end up like this all the way through to the next pit stop, and then we're going to see a sprint between these boys. One of them is going to have to try to break the toe. They won't be able to just keep doing this all the way to the end. Lawler, car 18, lap 18, car 13, 10-second contact, car 8.
I'm actually going to go down a very different lane to you, Sinker. I'm going to disagree with you. I think they can keep up this level of intensity and this level of aggression for the whole 60 minutes. Whether they'll trip up in the process or not remains to be seen. Can they keep it clean? Well, early evidence would suggest absolutely they can. But what we'll see, I think, is a ramp up in the intensity of their squabble once that second round of pit stops has been completed. So what I mean by that is they're going to be looking as they go here where their possible opportunities to overtake might present. So obviously turn 1, that's a given. We know that. Turn 3, trouble at the back. We've got a car off the road.
Edward's taking liberties. He's going out. There's no petrol station out that way, mate.
No.
Keep coming across.
That's Craig
That's
Edwards,
a
yeah.
long way to go.
And he's dropped all the way down to 12th as a result of that sinker. Wow-wee.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, there's your leader. Bell, Eskandari, 0.259 the advantage. Further in behind that, Davison, Slater, Borg, McConkey, Milner, Byrne, Donahue and McKinns.
Somebody's pulled over at the pit entrance. Where'd he go? Right in line. Someone pulled over right in the middle of the pit entrance then in the red and white area, but I can't see the car anymore.
Well, we've got a Team Max Boost car limping back to pit lane on screen at the moment too as well, mate.
Oh, look at this. Down there, that is McGee.
Madeline McGee. I was going to say I don't have any registration lighting up on my screen at the moment, so I'm having a little bit of trouble identifying these cars immediately.
Top right-hand corner?
Yes, at Madeline McGee.
Yeah, top right-hand corner will be the driver, mate, just in case you missed it. But yeah, it does disappear every now and again when depending which screens we're going on to. And the boys at the bottom, look, Nicky Martin is still out there, and he's one of those drivers that never gives up at all, and he'll try to fight his way all the way through. He did that same thing, finishing up 3rd. He's got himself up into 19th place, up 18 places. He's the biggest mover so far. Sam Chapman up 17 places now. He's up into 9th place. So Chapo's is that's not right.
Has he gone short to go long, maybe? Chapo. No, you're right. Your screen's incorrect.
Yeah, my screen's,
Chapo's 15th, so it's 11 or 12 spots gain. Right, Chapo at this point, I think he was 26th on the grid for memory, so 11 spots gain for him so far. I'm just going to, for future reference, Sinker, considering that your SDK is having a seizure at the moment, I'm going to reference the timing screen that everybody else is seeing at home for the balance of the evening, I think. I think that's going to be the safe bet. But one thing's for certain, Ryan Bell and Sebastian Eskandari, if we can go back to talking about the on-track battle, these guys are going to have to weigh up where best to execute overtaking opportunities. And when it comes to the final lap, they're going to have to do so in a way whereby they can be confident enough to execute it and be sure enough that they're going to be able to do so and consolidate and not have the situation turned back on them in the run back to the start-finish line. So, I mean, you'll see a bit of over and under, you'll see a little bit of side-by-side, but there will be a defining moment, and I don't think it'll be left all the way to the last corner. I'd expect that to be a fairly defensive sort of run down there if they're still this close. So maybe the second last corner, I'm not sure, Sinker. It's going to be interesting to see where these guys execute that final race-defining, race-winning, overtaking opportunity, noting that the run out of the final corner to the control line, the checkered flag, is rather short.
Yeah, that was, I totally agree with you. It's an amazing bit of left and right movement there out of Sam Chapman and Mark Hill coming down the main straight in the bottom screen. They were going side by side, a little bit of left and right movement. One was getting inside the other one's mirror and faked it to the left and went to the right. These boys are really throwing the gauntlet out now in this mid-pack in the 15th and 16th. They're trying to get as many positions up as they can because we're coming up to the pointy end of this race where they can't afford, if they want to be there at the top steps zone, even in the top 5, they need to make their moves now from the mid-pack onwards. I think Chapo's going to try to make a move now, and Hill was doing a cracking job there as well.
Across the start-finish line at the end of that previous lap, we had just over 31 minutes left in this race, ladies and gentlemen, almost 25 laps in, and it has been neck and crop, razor sharp, incredibly tight between these two from the start, Ryan Bell and Sebastian Eskandari. So hard to sway which way it's going to go at the moment. Hedge your bets, ladies and gentlemen. This is a 50-50 shot. Eskandari came in as the unbackable favourite, but Ryan Bell, happy to be the underdog in this instance, with clear air, but knowing full well that he cannot afford to so much as slip at any point around this racetrack because Eskandari's there waiting and ready to pounce. Across the start-finish line we go. Another lap in the books. Eskandari happy to tuck into the draft and go for it. Again, with fuel saving in mind, Sinker, what we saw there earlier. If this goes, see, there's a couple of things here, right?
Yep.
If you can't stretch your tank any more than 17 laps, you're in a bit of trouble, right? If you've got to stop every 15, 16 laps, you could be looking at a 3-stopper tonight. You probably don't want to be looking at a 3-stopper. That probably rubs you out of contention. If this goes green all the way, everybody's going to have to start getting the calculators out and crunching the numbers and saying, whoa, up, hang on, we're in a bit of trouble here. We need to rethink our strategy on the go.
100%. And just like us, they're doing 3 things at once, and they won't be able to calculate it. As much as I like Milne Dont's formula that they've shared with us in YouTube, unfortunately, we're watching screens, watching timing tables, and trying to do these things on the fly. So formulas don't quite work for us in that time. A lot of these pros in the pro world will have people in the background doing, oh, look at the contact, champion. Oh, that was very, very, very close there with Stevens. Oh, no, it's Jason Depp coming through, the Pro-Am champion from SRW with the legend that is Mr. Chapman, who is he's working his way up the field, mate. I told you he's put the foot down. He's starting to get his points across because he needs to make his move now. So he's there and thereabouts. Safety car has been called, ladies and gentlemen. Safety car has been called. As Jason Depp does the perfect thing and goes in the pits. We have a car stranded on the pit exit. That's where that came from. I'm not sure how the accident happened. Is that Thomas Sonny Cena or one of the JVM boys?
Limping away from the scene of the crime, and that is Schellenberg. Yep. Number 664.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear. So the safety car has been called for the first time tonight.
Yes.
And Stephanie Piccoli will drive that one for us. 28 and a half minutes to go. How opportunistic, Sinker, for everybody here.
Look at this.
Side by side, straight contact and gone. Bang.
I mean, guys, there's a track there wide enough for 10 wide at that point. How the hell did that happen? Actually, you know what? This is exactly what you said. There's going to be an accident on the main straight.
There's going to be an accident crashing in the straight line. It's not the first time I've seen it this month. It won't be the last, probably. Bang! And I say that very facetiously because there's only 3 hours left in the month, but still, have a look at that.
I
Disastrous.
reckon there could have been a bit of net code there because it looked like that before even touched, they got sucked in together.
Schellenberg gone. I dare say there's going to be another car that we weren't able to identify that's going to have to come into pit lane as a result of that as well. You can't not sustain some damage and an impact that fierce. There'll be a couple of lapped cars now being released ahead of the safety car, allowed to go around and unlap themselves. What an opportune moment here. There's a couple of guys that haven't opted to go to the pit lane second time through.
Guess who? And guess who?
Yeah, Chapo is one of them.
Chapo is there.
But everybody else, just about, as soon as they saw that safety car deployed, dove for pit lane. Now, that's interesting, right? Because we were only just talking about it. If it goes green all the way, they could be in a little bit of trouble. This probably saves them. Not the guys that are pitting under the safety car. The guys that are pitting under the safety car probably are looking at a third stop. But the guys that are going to be able to just save a little bit of juice here and follow the safety car around, they will be on an alternate strategy. They'll peel off partway through the next phase of the race once we go back to green, I think you'll find. They'll want to run this tank as long as they can and ensure that the next stop is the last. So a couple of different strategies now firmly in play here. It's going to be interesting to see who prevails on top as a result of that. Can I go quickly around the grounds for you, ladies and gentlemen? The Socceroos are in action tonight. It's rare that we get to talk Tuesday night sport, right? Socceroos FIFA Series, Amy Park, Melbourne, currently leading Coruscant 1-0, a minute and a half out from stoppage time in the first half. So Thomas Sinner to pit lane now, and the safety car finally seeing that in action for the first time tonight. We're wondering, I just didn't think it was seemingly possible that we would get through an Australian Open World Nationals without seeing that thing lead the field at some point.
Well, it's It's done more clean laps than me in the last 12 months. But we didn't expect it to happen because of all the runoffs we've got. But that was one of the things we said would be possible down the main straight. And it looked like it was... Looks like Schmellenberg was breaking the toe, then not sure if the car beside him ran into him or he ran into him. Race control reviewing the boundary lines and who's moved where and what's moved. It looked like there was a little bit of net code as well from my perspective, but that could be completely wrong as well. But it's changed the magnitude of this event, and it's opened up the doors to some completely new strategies, mate, completely. In the top 7, one has pitted in the top 7, and that's Sebastian Eskandari. And we know he's got pace to get up there and amongst these boys, but what's it going to mean for minor positions?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Ryan Bell and Denny Davison. So it's interesting, right? So Denny Davison, Ryan Bell, Sebastian Eskandari, they have all stopped. Now, it's interesting when you look at that because we're getting a misreading on Bell on our timing screen, at least. It says that he's only done 1 stop. He's actually done 2. It was just an issue with the SDK timing at Sinker's end. But for Donahue and Chapman and Martin, so they might stretch an extra lap, maybe 2 out of this. They'll be doing some heavy fuel saving, whatever's possible, behind the safety car here, but they, along with Dougie Gowans and Nick Martin, they'll all peel off at some point.
Yeah.
Early in this next phase. They have to. They will run out of juice and cough and splutter and pull up on the racetrack and trigger another safety car if they don't, right? The question is when. They're getting to a very, very, very nice point, though, here right now, Sinker, because this is another lap in which they're going to follow the safety car around. Nick Martin actually dives in now. He's like, no, I've had enough. I'm getting out of this. He's looking at this thinking, I might be able to stretch this and get home. The other 2 won't be thinking that. But we're starting to get to a very pleasant phase of proceedings here whereby you can look at the clock, you can look at the numbers you've completed, and you can work it out for yourself, particularly Chapman and Donahue, who are very good when it comes to fuel saving, especially Chapman. He's not a 2-time Australian Open World National Champion for nothing, ladies and gentlemen. They've got the chance now to use the safety car to their advantage. They're doing 2:17 behind the safety car, so we're a full minute and then some. We're about 50% speed at the moment. So we're losing laps out of the race as well. So now everybody else is counting back from 51 and thinking, well, hang on, it might only go 49, 48. So it's putting them in the window of uncertainty as well. I dare say they've probably got a second stop, a third stop maybe to do, but the amount of time they're going to have to spend on pit lane is going to be very, very minimal. This is wide open. It's anyone's game. But I'd want to be one of the guys that's only got to do 1 more stop from here, not those that have already done 2 stops and have to make a third.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It's going to be. There's even more things that are going to come into this as well. When these races, as soon as we think we've worked it out, something happens and it gets thrown into the spanner of it all and comes out the other end. It's a shame there's no rain coming on board now because that would be spectacular in the last 20 minutes. And we did get promised there would be no rain tonight, mate. There we did. But it's a shame.
I think we had to make that promise because there are still people recovering from Bathurst.
Yeah, maybe so. Much as a lot of people didn't like it, I loved it because it just brought danger into the race, and the puddles became a distinct tragedy if you hit them. One thing we will do for the next indications of this in end of season 2 is we will have the series code at the end of the driver's name, so we can have FDL, GSRC, SRW, so we can get a bit easier focus, maybe even on.
Oh, there goes Chapman. There goes Chapman.
Oh, he has gone in.
And Ryan Bell
Bell and
well. That's a really good call from Ryan Bell and Brodie McConkey, I reckon.
Yeah, but is it too
They're
late?
crunching the numbers. Sebastian Eskandari stayed out. So now you've got the 2 favourites of this race and the 2-time champion. You've got Bell and Chapman on the same strategy. You've got Eskandari trying to run the gauntlet here, hoping that the amount of time being chewed out of this safety car will mean that he's going to be okay on juice. And we are getting to a very, very critical point here, Sinker.
Well, it's 4 minutes of difference. Is he going to be able to... Is he going to be able to stretch it out? Literally, he's going to need to get an extra 4 minutes of fuel out of that car at this point here. I know the safety car is saving a lot of fuel here, but still, we saw the first stint went 17-minute mark.
Yeah.
So it's maybe he'll stretch that out to what? 20 if he's really done well, but he's got no one up there at the moment to draft behind either. Once he passes these boys, he's out on his own, so it's going to be a different ball game. I think he might look. He's going to have to go for fuel, I reckon, and it's going to be in the last 5 minutes of the race, and it'll be just a dash enough to get across the line. But you know what? That's when mistakes are made as well. We've seen championship lost where the drivers have gone into rush for that last little bit of a fuel stop, and something's gone wrong in the last few minutes where they've actually tagged the wall or they've put too much fuel in. I think it's a risk.
All right, so let's have a look here, right? There's a couple of important things unfolding at the moment. I was just about to ask the question because it felt like this safety car was dragging on for a long period of time. Safety car returned to pit. Drivers maintain 90 kilometres an hour, no more, and obviously cease weaving at this point. So no more weaving. Anyone that is caught to be doing such will wear the wrath of race control. The other point that I want to make, Cinco, is 17 laps is about 19.50 on fuel. We've passed that 19-minute 50 marker now. So as we come back to the line, we're looking at 17 laps, no more, if we go green all the way. That means you're going to get to 48. That's the critical number. Already Hudson pulled off. And it's Tom Donahue that leads us back to green. Dougie Gowans is in this fight. So too Sebastian Eskandari and Denny Davison. Ryan Borg, Geordie Slater. They're weaving, they're working their way through. Big dive at turn one. Eskandari's off the road. And Doug Gowans is going to capitalise on that. Tom Donahue leads at the bend.
Cracking job there. Skandari's all over the back of him like crazy. You've got Slater in there as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got 3 SRW series races already in the front place, even though Donahue is not. But look at this, 2 wide coming through side by side. They're making it around there. Eskandari's taking the inside line. He's taking it all the way through. Is he going to be able to push it through across there? Slater is making sure he's 3 cars wide. He's getting the elbows out completely. Eskandari's got the pace coming through the edge of the corner, but Slater is blocking the line beautifully coming through there. Gowans has got him to the 4th. Borg in 5th. Milne in 6th. Daniel Byrne 7th. Davidson 8th. Edwards 9th. And Auckland in 10th place. What a start that was. We just saw a car go off. A car has gone off. It looks like he's facing the wrong way. Who is the car? It looks like a Maxi Boost car.
Yep. Well picked up.
Is.
That's
75. Oh, Danny Davidson. Oh, my God. We talked about Danny Davidson's bad luck out there. And, oh, my God, it's happened to him again.
Passing under safety car ×2, number 7, which I think is Madeline McGee, is going to be held for a 30-second stop-go penalty for passing under the safety car. My goodness.
Yeah.
So another spanner in the works. Right, Tom Donahue leads, Sebastian Eskandari, Geordie Slater, Ryan Borg, they're all in there. Dougie Gowans is 5th. Denny Davison has no luck in these things. Jackson Rayhana has no luck in these things. It is a curse, the Australian Open World Astrals, for those 2 gentlemen. Somebody's going to be lucky tonight. Will it be Sebastian Eskandari running the gauntlet here, having stopped last on lap 27? Now, I don't care how much fuel you've saved over those 4 laps, Sinky. You've still got to get 17 on my numbers to get to the checkered flag. So that would make it a 21-lap stint. We were talking about the lap times being twice as slow as what they would be at full tilt. They've done 4 laps under safety car at that speed. I'm starting to question whether Eskandari can make it without some serious compromise and fuel save. Tom Donahue is going to be okay because whenever he stops, he's going to be okay to go through to the end. Look down towards the other end of the field. Wear a Bell, wear a Chapman because they're the ones to watch because they're on the right strategy, I reckon. I reckon that was a crucial call from Chapman. Maybe not necessarily the best call because he's come right out in the thick of traffic, but to go before the safety car went back to green, knowing we're back in the window in which he could make it home without another stop, I think that might end up being a race-winning decision. It says final lap on screen at the moment, but that's
on
not
screen,
true.
mate. 4 wide coming through there. Chapman's on the inside line. My goodness me, Ryan Bell came across the front of it as well. They've got Tyler Sheep and Baldwin coming through there too. These boys are really starting to put it all on the line for this final few laps. They've got a few coming through. What are we in? We've got 20 minutes left. No, we've got less. We have got 16 minutes left at this point. But, whoa, that was a bit of hairy stuff coming through the back of that field. But look at good old, oh, man, what's his name? He's just left my brain. Tom Donahue
I hate when that
doing a very clean job out there. He knows he's got to. He knows he's going to get caught at some point. He knows how fast Eskandari is. They raced against each other. Eskandari's already taken 3/10 off him in a matter of a lap. But what's he going to do, and how's he going to be able to ride it? Look at this. Chapman's coming side by side. Oh, there was contact.
Damage.
There's contact. I'm not sure who lost what between those two. But I think that was Ryan Bell and Chapman coming through there, and one of them lost something.
Wow. We need to have another look at the replay there. Watch Sebastian Eskandari reeling in Tom Donahue, taking chunks out of that advantage that Donahue enjoys at the moment. It's extraordinary. We get to 15 minutes to go, and this is where it sits, ladies and gentlemen. We still don't have any idea, the faintest clue as to who is going to emerge victorious. Donahue to the pits.
Donahue's in. Donahue's in.
I dare say that will not be the last pit stop we see tonight. Across the line we go. There will be a couple of splashes and dashes here. And the heartbreaking thing in all of this, Sinker, is I reckon there'll be a couple of them as the white flag flies. Now, the white flag's not going to fly on the circuit because Barney's stuck in the museum, but it'll be the figurative white flag lap when we go to lap 48.
Edwards got himself caught in a bit of a tussle there. Two cars running around him. He had Byrne and Gowan's coming around the side of him there. But look at this at the moment. This is getting tougher. Milne is across there as well. He's got the inside line on the inside of... Oh, it's one of the FDL boys. Oh, it used to be. Yeah, he's one of the FDL boys. Is that Stevenson or Milne?
Edwards throw on Milne. And then Stevens is in behind them. So Stevens is the next one, top a shot right now. And look at the pressure he's under as well, with Senese and Ackland all in there in the mix, trying to fight for the top 10 positions. Got my eye on the totem pole. Dan Yeaman's fought his way back to 29th at this point, ladies and gentlemen. The GSRC SFL champion. Oh, trouble at the top of the shot there. There was a max boost entry out in the weeds, I think you'll find. There's Sebastian Eskandari, bottom of shot into the main straight. Here's the pit lane activity that we were predicting as well. Stopping now, Sinker, saying, righto, we're good. That'll get us through to the end. We're in the safe window of 13 minutes and 15 seconds to go. As I said, at the line, crunching the numbers as best I could. We had, the better part of 19 minutes and 50 seconds on the clock. That's good enough for 17 laps based on the current pace.
Doing a cracking job getting the inside line there. Daniel Burns taking it nice and clean. Driver 808 on YouTube if you want to check him out. Doing an exceptional job coming through. Geordie Slater up 15 places in second place at the moment. I did mention him previously in the race as one of the guys that would possibly get up there. He's got the pace to fight it out with these boys. But have a look at Byrne having a go there as well. He's got Angus Milne in there behind him. Milne is getting a lot of dust in his face from Byrne. Byrne taking a bit more action on the dirt coming through there. Is he going to get enough of a tow through here? Let's see what he does coming through. Milne is having a look. He hasn't got quite enough of it coming down unless he can make the move under brakes. Having a bit of a sniff. Oh, he's being blocked a little bit from the guy in front of him, but not enough to get the overpass done. But it's getting tight. People are starting to get a little bit desperate as well, mate. Sebastian Eskandari has gone 1.86 seconds. He was only just behind Geordie Slater about a lap and ago, and he is pulling away like crazy. He's just set the fastest lap, the 108.280.
So that's suggesting to me one or two things. Either he thinks he's good on fuel or he's trying to create a buffer because he knows he's not.
Buffer.
Yeah.
Buffer.
It has to be. It can't be anything but. Again, lap 27, that's all good and well. But he's done 4 laps behind the safety car. He's got to get another 17 out. That effectively, that's a 19-lap green flag run. And best I saw in the opening stint, I don't think anyone went beyond 18. So I think it's beyond the realms of possibility for Sebastian Eskandari at this point in time, as much as it pains me to say it, but it would appear as though the early in the day chat thread has put the mocker on Sebastian Eskandari. Down the main straight we go. So Milne and Byrne. Milne down the inside. Senesse's in there as well. Milne up into 5th. Senesse gets by Byrne as well. So Byrne back to 7th. Look just outside of the top 10, ladies and gentlemen, and you've got Bell and Chapman arguing over the same piece of real estate. Jackson Ray Harner on his comeback trail through this field, back up into, I think it's 16th spot at the moment. Only
This battle's not over, mate. This battle is not over. Locking up. It looks like Daniel Bird just got a bit of code brown there. Wasn't sure what was going inside. Oh, there's a car blinking as well, which is being told to go to the pits too. Unfortunate there by Daniel Byrne, but that was some close contact racing that just went a little bit south.
If we can get a shot of Ryan Bell just to give us an idea as to where he's at on the racetrack, that'd be terrific. Just want to get an idea of where the early front runner was. Maybe it was him blinking, I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Byrne there. There's Bell. All out on his own at the moment. It doesn't look as though he's had any issue. Last time around, 108.829, 108.567. He's best of the night so far. But there he is in 27. Actually, I've just lost him on the totem pole there.
No, he's there. I've got him on the bottom screen at the moment. He is in... Oh, don't even think about me giving you the position, because it's it's like my SDK is like watching Keno thing going up and down at the moment. Thinker,
that's the problem. Ryan Bell has dropped to 34th. So relative to Sam Chapman, they came back out on the racetrack at the same time. Did Bell sustain damage? There's Chapman in 14th. Did Bell sustain damage in that incident? And has that compromised his run? Is that why he's down in 34th at the moment? Or is he the one that's suffering the net code? Or is it a combination?
It could be a combination of both, mate, because he could have maybe just flicked out a little bit too when that contact happened. But, yeah, that was very, very close between him and Chapman. We saw some panel come off, but we don't know whose car it was. Bell would be the guess. Oh, under brakes. Wow. Whoa, look at that. That was Ryan Bell coming through under brakes. So his car can't be that bad. It took on Brad Hudson coming through that gap and made him look like he was standing still.
Can we, I know we're looking at margins at the moment. Is it all right if we go and have a look at the stint length for these guys, just so that we can gauge who's on? Yeah, have a look at this. Have a look at these numbers. Eskandari, Slater, Borg, Edwards, Milne, Senesse, Hilly, Ackland, all on 13 laps completed in their stint. McConkey's the best position at the moment, just ahead of Kane Ryder. But even then, they've got to get through another 7 laps at the line. I think McConkey's in the box seat here.
Yep, someone's just come out of the pits as well. I think it's Matt Neal just came out of the pits too, so he's got himself on some fresh, probably fuel. I'm not sure if the boys will be taking rubber on the track like this tonight, but no. Slater is not giving up this at all. Have a look at him.
No, this is a great fight from Slater. A terrific fight and good defence. The onus will be on Borg to find a way through here.
Definitely. Well, it looks like that the curse of SRW will continue, and we'll get a person on the podium, but not the glory of the podium.
No. And even then, there's still a long way to go. So we'll wait and see.
A hell of a long way to go.
Absolutely. I mean, there's still 7.5 minutes, folks. Now, that might not seem like a lot, but if you've watched these events before, you know, all hell can break loose right up to and including the final minute of play, and then even overtime as they're trying to get back to the checkered flag. And we will see a small dose of overtime tonight, I think you'll find. It'll only be a handful of seconds based on the numbers that we're crunching as the field went back to green. So, Eskandari, Slater, Borg, Edwards, Milne, Hilly, then Senesse, all at the 14-lap marker of this stint. And Eskandari was 6.4 seconds to the good. Relative to where we're, of course, looking for McConkey, it's only 13 seconds. That's not going to be enough to cover off a pit lane transit for Sebastian Eskandari, should he need to come back to the lane. That's, of course, providing that everybody's started on a full set of fuel, a full tank. Now, I don't know what the cap was, Sinker, going into the race, where the tank was capped. I know that race control has the discretion in setting up the server to cap the tank at a certain capacity. Do we know what the percentage of that was?
I don't know, mate, but not that really that'll make much difference to us either, because we don't have the relative of the fuel consumption at the moment. But just a quick one down the bottom. Beautiful bit of passing movers there by Miguel Costa. He worked his way through past two cars, past Jason Depp and Sam Chapman coming through there at the moment. So he did a cracking bit of work there. Not Sam Chapman, it was Ryan Bell and Jason Depp.
Yep. Eskandari, Slater, Borg, Edwards, Milne, Hilly, Sanese, Ryder, McConkey, Noble, and Bell.
Another one into the pits.
Stops. Here we go. So this is exactly what we're talking about.
Too wide. That's Milne coming down the straight.
Edwards into the lane. 5 minutes 20 to go. End of another lap.
Oh, we got pit entrances at the moment. We've got a few driving in at the moment. The pit wall is opening up like crazy.
There's a massive amount of traffic on pit road at the moment. Have a look at them, ladies and gentlemen, like bees at the honey pot.
Yeah, Edwards, McConkey, Noble, Hodgkinson.
Oh,
there's a few out there. Donahue went early. Broker.
Milne under tremendous pressure here from Slater. Mark Hilly's got himself up in a second spot. The Orbit drop bear stable. The Logitech G Orbit drop bear stable. And now Milne displaces him. Hilly was wide on the exit. So Hilly's been displaced again. These guys are all racing to what we think will be their final pit stop. We're not certain that any of them can get through the final 4 laps of this race. Across the line we go. Hilly pulls off.
In.
And he's not the only one.
Oh, look at them all come through. Ladies and gents, we've got 4 minutes left. We predicted in the last 5 minutes we'll see a few people going into the pits. Sam Chapman, where's Mr. Chapman after all this fuel saving? Is he slowly going up the place? He's got guys in front of him. He's going to need fuel. Cook's in. Just Sinise's in. Hill's in.
Where the bloody hell has Jackson Rayhana come from? He's up in 6th. Up in 6th position.
He is just been,
He's running
he is just been cruising it. Just cruising
look at
it.
him. But
just
the problem they've got is, have a look ahead of them, right? So Eskandari, Milne, Borg, Slater, and we believe Ryder, I think they've all still got to stop. I might be wrong with that.
Let's have a look at the stops.
But if they've still got to stop, then that puts Rayhana and Chapman all of a sudden in the box seat.
It is. We told you we don't count them out.
Kane Ryder's the one that you got to watch now. He's only done 15 laps this stint, Sinker. I think Kane Ryder might be where the goalposts are.
Yeah, Ryder, Rian, and Chapman sprinting it to the edge. They might just have enough to get through. I'd suggest they do. Chapman definitely has, but have a look at this. Ryder is having a go at the moment. He is taking... Oh, he's tucking back in. He's tucking back in.
Eskandari to pit lane, I think.
Yes, he did. Yep, he did. He just went in.
So Milne leads by 4.7 and Ryder's gone by Borg. Chapman is only 11 seconds back. Should something go wrong for Kane Ryder, Chapo's in the box seat. And Rayhana's dropped off. Rayhana's dropped off the face of the planet, so I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he had to come in as well. Yes, he did. So Slater, Rayhana, Byrne Davison, and Darren Fay all through that time. 2.5 minutes to go. 2 laps at the line. And the race firmly on Kane Ryder's lap at this point in time, because we think Milne has that fuel issue that everybody else has faced. And again, it illustrates the foresight and the strategic mindset of everybody that dived in during the latter part of that safety car interval.
Yeah, it was a big key factor. And look at them already down there. Kandara taking the inside line, making a nice little move there.
Oh.
Someone's caught. Oh,
Ryder's in as well, is he?
Ryder's in as well.
And Borg as well. Oh, wow.
Oh, look at this. They're all dropping in. Chapman's still out there. Is Chapman done enough fuel saving? Please.
Oh, of course
if anyone's going to do it, Chapman's going to do it out there. Is he got enough out there to do another lap and a half?
A lap and a half. A lap and a half. That's all it is. And We will never hear the end of it either.
Did I not say Chapo's the one to watch?
That's number one. And number two, it'll be 3, and no one else has won 3 of these things. He'll be at the top of the summit on his bloody own sinker. Unbelievable. As soon as he went to pit lane that second time through, I thought that could be a potential race-winning play. And sure enough, from 26th on the grid, are you kidding me? Chapo's going to lead us to the white flag this time by.
Look at Maverick up 4th place. Is that correct? Up 5 places. Up 30 places in the 5th place. Daniel Yeaman up into 19th places, up to 4th. We've got McGuinness up 6 places in 3rd. We've got Sebastian Scandari, who is catching now at 8 minutes with no time left. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Sam Chapman is going to go for one more lap around from here, and he is going to do it again. He is going to become the legend of Australian Open Wheel Nationals, taking this out 3 times in a row out of not even the top 10 position.
I think Ray Hana's off the road. I think Jackson Ray Hana's run into trouble and is off the road. That's certainly what it's saying on my timing screen at the moment. McInnes is... Oh, there he is. On his lead. Jackson Ray Hana is on his lead at turn 3. Are you kidding me? Another string in the tail, another spanner in the works. You mentioned Yeaman and Lavis, not a surprise because they've taken a leaf out of Chapo's book once or twice over the years. They're pretty crafty when it comes to this fuel-saving caper sinker, and all of a sudden, the GSRC are going to steal this one out from under the carpet of everybody else and have 3 in the top 5. McInnes is probably the wild card in all of that. Sebastian Escandari, desperately unlucky. Chapo in celebratory mode already, but get around the final 2 corners first, my friend, and then you can celebrate until your heart's content. Sam Chapman, ladies and gentlemen, is a 3-time Australian Open World National Champion. Oh, my goodness.
It's second place.
26th on the grid.
We've got 2nd place, Escandari, 3rd, Daniel Yeaman, 4th, McGuinness, 5th, Edwards, 6th, Maverick, 7th, Hill, 8th, Milne, 9th, McConkey, and 10th, Ryder running out your top 10 tonight, ladies and gents. What a effort by Chapman. I think we both knew it was going to happen when that pit stop through, but let's keep going from the rest of the grid and show these boys how they fought all the way through. This was just another one for the books, mate. Ladies and gents, Chapo, Mr. Chapman has taken this out with a strategic pit run while the safety car to make sure he makes it through, and he takes the checkered flag for the 3rd time in the history of Australian Open Wheel Nationals. 2nd place, Escandari, a further 6 seconds behind him after being the lead driver and leading most of this race with some spectacular pace. 3rd place, Daniel Yeaman, out of nowhere as well, up I think 20 places to get himself to 3rd place. 4th, McGuinness. 5th, Edwards. 6th, Adam Maverick. 7th, Healy. 8th, Milne. McConkey, 9th, and Kane Ryder, 10th. I don't see a SRW name until now. Auckland in 11th. Slater, the lead SRW in 12th. Paul, 13th. Hodgkinson again, another SRW in 14th place. Texeria in 15th. Davidson in 16th. Neil 2 in 17th. Daniel Byrne in 18th. Thomas Sonny Cena, 19th. Greggy Cook in 20th as the SRW start to round out the 20s. Bates in 21st, Hudson 22nd, Depp in 23rd, Brooker 24th, Martin 25th, Fahey 26th, Stevenson 27th, Rollo 28th, Gowans comes through at 29th, and Tom Donahue ends up down in 30th after some great times out there. Bell 31st, Noble 32nd, Baldwin 33rd, Tomlin 34th, Janisse, I expected him to be a lot higher there, in 35th, Thomas Sheafy in 36th, Dave Lawler 37th, Rollo 38th, Rian 39th, 40th, mate. That's another one. He's going to be the cursed driver in this series. McGinney, is it McGee?
McGee in 41st, and Gallo 42nd. Now, on that subject, obviously, everybody that's finished 1 or 2 laps down, gets classified on 75%. You saw a penalty notice on your screen there regarding Jackson Rayhana. I thought it was adding insult to injury on behalf of race control to hit him with a 35-second extra post-race penalty for an unserved black flag. Bit hard to serve it when he's on his lid at 1. But anyway, it is what it is. And
I'd say that would be an iRacing penalty, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Well, yeah. There'll be a couple of penalties being applied there. Bang, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, our race winners are about to join us. Hopefully the rest of the top 3 as well. Can we just say too, by the way, Sebastian Eskandari, dead set unlucky in the fair dinkum department. He had that in the grip of in the palm of his hand. He had that there for the taking. Ryan Bell unlucky too. The 2 leaders that took us out, led from the front, absolutely poleaxed the rest of the field. It just goes to show that once again, you want to fly under the radar in these things. You want to stay, out of the firing line at the front of the field, away from all the attention of the broadcast and the commentary team, and mind your own P's and Q's. You don't want to be leading from the front because it never ends up with you in victory lane. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, Dan, I think that's as most positions gained as we've ever seen on a podium here. Chapo 25 and Yeaman 20. And Yeaman ran into trouble earlier in the piece. I don't know exactly what happened. We'll hear from him very shortly as to how it all played out. But he's recovered from an early, out of sequence pit stop to get himself back up onto the podium from 23rd on the grid. Nice recovery from the current GSRC SFL champion, and another 15-second penalty. So race control Deming Jackson Rayhana to be at fault for the incident that ended up with him on his lid as well. So, I mean, it's not going to adjust the finishing position for Jackson. Let's make that abundantly clear. He was the last driver on +1, so the last driver a lap down. So that's not going to change. But unfortunately, he's going to leave here with a couple of asterisks next to his name. We've got a couple of legends joining us here, Sinker. Immortality awaiting the 3-timer now. But should we launch into the post-race show as we wait for Sebastian Eskandari to join us?
Oh, mate, I'll tell you what. I'm going to call out a full investigation. How the hell did GSRC get 2 drivers out of their 7 that are in the field in the top 3 positions?
Actually, that is worth pointing out. The GSRC went in with the smallest troop, the smallest squadron, but quality over quantity every day of the week, Sinker. And, dead set. We do ride a bit of luck in these things from time to time, but again, it's the strategic masterclass. Adam Lavis unfortunately got pipped there for 5th on the final lap, as we detailed. Maybe he was coughing and spluttering to the line. I'll be interested to find out how close these guys were on fuel as well. By the way, Socceroos and Coruscant now 1-1, ladies and gentlemen, as we go around the grounds for you. Let me apply normal GSRC broadcast into an SRW event. But anyway, Dan Yeaman's here, Sam Chapman's here. I think we hear from Yeaman first and save the champ until last, eh?
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely, that's the way it goes. We've got young Eskandari is just getting himself sorted to get into the chat. Josh goes doing that at the moment. But Mr. Yeaman, mate, up 20 places. You slipped under the radar for most of that race. And I'm not sure, were you and Chapo in cahoots in there on your strategies coming through? Because I know that Zach did say there's a bit of luck out there. It's no luck at all. Eskandari was on a strategy that unfortunately didn't work for him, but you boys just picked the right one at the right time, man. That was just amazing.
Oh, thanks, guys. I mean, look, that was a night of, up. So, 23rd to start tonight wasn't ideal. We ended up, unfortunately, getting tagged on lap 1 at about turn 8, it was. Unfortunately, I left the inside over, as it turns out. Thought I had it. Trying to protect my car. Ended up just leaving a gap on the inside, which was taken advantage of, and was stuck on the exit of the corner with a car over my rear wing. Into the pits, got rear-ended on the pit entry and had to cop a black flag that wasn't able to be cleared before I hit the box. So that's how I ended up a lap down the entire race until the safety car was just trapped for 40 seconds in the pit lane. So the safety car was what I was hoping for.
Hugely beneficial. Yep.
Didn't think it was coming anytime, thanks to the fact that end of the day, an hour-long race at a track like this and a car like this is probably not the best combo in terms of unexpected outcomes and potential for drama. So we got very lucky with the safety car tonight, and it fell just late enough there in the race that I said, look, we'll take it. It's going to be a big fuel save run to do it. I was pulling the clutch practically every major straightaway to try and get a bit of fuel out of it. We were saving about 0.2 of a litre every lap by my numbers. And then, thankfully got to about 3 to go there, and the numbers, I suddenly realised on the clock were good. So we put the hammer back down. We coughed out of the very last turn on the last lap there, but yes, saving that final splash was all that I wanted to do, and exactly what I was able to do tonight.
You answered the question that I had for you, Dan. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because Chapo went the very last lap, the start of the very last lap of the caution. Is that when you jumped into the lane as well? Unlap yourself and then jump in?
Yeah, so the lap before safety car came in, I was just being waved around, dived into the pits, still didn't even catch the rear of the train by about 6 or 7 seconds before the race restarted with Tom at the front. So it was sort of like pushing on the outlap of the last lap of the restart. But then it was like, okay, we're racing now. Actually got to make this work by saving fuel. So, 23rd to 40th, hanging around in the low 30s until the safety car. And even then, to come from... We're doing what Sam did, but having to do it from the back of the field, I guess. As I understand, you wouldn't have seen me coming until all of a sudden I was there. So I'll take it.
Timing's everything, mate. Let's be perfectly honest. And you guys nailed that because, I mean, if the safety car had gone a lap longer, there's a lot of other people that would have still been in the game, right? But the safety car ended at the right time. The time was in your favour on the clock. We were crunching the numbers here in commentary. We came up with 17. It was a 17-lap green flag run to get from the recommencement of play to the checkered flag, and only a smidgen, maybe 20, 30 seconds of overtime required as well. And it's interesting to note that you said that it was only about 3 laps from home that you realised that you were going to be okay. Am I to make the assumption based on that had it gone to 49 laps, had this been 1 lap longer, 1 less under safety car, you guys would have been cooked?
Probably, yeah. Funnily enough, my fuel calculator for the entire time thought I was going to be short. It didn't seem to be able to calculate the fact that as the leaders peeled off to pit, that we lost a lap probably in the process. So if I had to keep saving, we maybe could have done 1 more lap at save pace all the way to the end, but even then, probably still would have been a high risk cough situation. So 49 could have really been a real dice roll, but 48 was the right number tonight.
I know Sinker's probably got another question for you, so 1 more from me and then I'm going to throw it back to Sinker. How late were you getting into the server tonight, please? Because I know you're busy in the real world and work hours do vary, but I couldn't help but notice how little laps you clocked during practice. And if that's the case and it was caused by work, how much time did you have in the lead up to today, before today, to sit there and get ready for tonight?
Well, the fun thing is, Zach, as I've elaborated plenty of times, I'm a bit of an arrive and drive merchant sometimes. I had intended to do better than that tonight, but I got myself sick getting not enough sleep versus my work schedule last week. So I lost the weekend, and yesterday too, realistically. I ended up home about 40 minutes before qualifying and realistically turned about 3 laps.
Interesting. Because, and can I just say publicly on the record, I'm partly to blame for Yeaman burning the candle at both ends last week. So I apologise for my role in that because we had a full post-race show that probably went maybe 10, 15 minutes too long on Wednesday night, and burning the candle at both ends. I think we're all happy to see the end of last term. We're all run down. But interesting to note that, mate. Thank you for elaborating. Sinker, I'm going to throw it back to you. I'm sure you got a couple of questions to throw Dan's way.
Well, you've asked most of the ones I was going to ask, mate. But Dan, it's good to see you out there and racing again, not just pushing the buttons with your excellent job you did last time around for this show. It's how much racing are you getting involved in these days? Or are you spending a lot of time still doing GSRC button pushing?
Let's see. I've had the chance to actually, with the way work turned out, actually run the GSRC's SFL season for the past 10 weeks and actually come into tonight. I'm sure Zach might have mentioned it once or twice if he had a chance to, as the incoming club champ for the SFL over there. So that was pretty cool to be able to do that. And yeah, when I can press the buttons with Zach on a Wednesday night for our what's been the Legends 34 Coupe and the Supercars for the GSRC. Thursday nights I'm busy with SimSpeed TV when work permits. The V8 Veterans Championship. Shout out to those boys who just started their newest season last Thursday night, and they'll be racing again this Thursday, and I'll be back on the buttons for them for that. And then just from there, we if we've got time and it works, I try and fill in with a bit of bonus racing, because at the end of the day, I did start racing first, and I do enjoy still racing as much as I do try and help out with button pushing to make broadcast work, given it's something I've also sort of picked up an appreciation for over the years.
Yeah. So where do you think, being that you're a bit of an all-rounder, being out there in different leagues and seeing different leagues, producing in different leagues and stuff like that, do you feel that the Australian Open Wheel National is starting to get some sort of recognition? We're into round 7th race. It takes a while to build momentum for something like this, being a community event, not a financially supported event like your Logitech series and stuff like that. How do you feel we are progressing in that age? Are we getting to that point where it's starting to be a bit of a pinnacle?
I mean, look, it's certainly, in many respects, I'd say it's a standout event on its own. I mean, because it does come around every season now for the past, what is it, 7 now, as I said. So yeah, it's getting some traction. I mean, there is obviously the fact that at the end of the day, and not to put the mockers on the rest of me and the rest of the guys at GSRC, let alone the drivers from the SRW who came in to race, it does feel like now with the inclusion of FDL for the past couple of seasons that they are the club to beat, given that that's what they have built themselves around. And the pace in qualifying and start of the race, unless there were some SRW guys out there, and if there were, I do apologise for maybe some very broad and inappropriate generalisations. It felt like they were the guys to come in and beat tonight. And on pure pace, from what I saw, at least the drivers I recognised, definitely being from FDL stock, had that pace. And if it hadn't been for the fact that guys like Sam and I are willing to throw a complete bone and try something left of field as we did, it would have been theirs, I think, tonight pretty straightforward.
Well, I guess that's what it comes down to when you're driving an event which is down to one race, not on a league, which is you can't come back next week and try to do better. It's you got to throw all those calculations to the floor and just go for it, like what you guys did. And it's not just the racing aspect. It's like real world racing. You got to have all your ducks in a row. Look at your strategies. Look at everything. So I think it's taken it to the next sort of level of not just a league race where. Yeah, you got to have if you can get a crewman out there working, doing your figures and stuff like that. You guys are obviously really good at your fuel strats and stuff like that. So definitely something I think some of the SRW boys need to improve on to get themselves up the pointy end, because we're going to have to talk to Chapo soon too, and I'm looking forward to that too. But mate, Mr. Yeoman, congratulations. Do you want to yell out and shout out to a few sponsors and some thank yous out there before we push on to the young fella?
Yeah, thanks, Sinker. First of all, thanks for the race, guys. It's good to have another steer. I mean, I think I've had 3 or 4 cracks at this, and unfortunately, this is the first one that I can say actually went well for me personally. So, finally, a turnaround in form, perhaps, to go with what I've been able to do with the GSRC. To all my boys over at Logitech AOWN, big shout out to all of them. We had a couple of guys cheering us on in the team Discord tonight. As myself and Mark here, we were racing on, and of course, special shout out to Mark for repping the FDL tonight amongst their qualifiers and doing what he could to get P7 tonight, just on that pure pace strat, which obviously got called out at the end, but a solid result I hope he feels for him. And then to our club team sponsors, Logitech G as our new title sponsor for this year. Big thanks to Dan Hall for making that possible from Logitech's side, and for Tom Wilkinson at the team for being one of the guys who led the charge on organising that arrangement. And to iLiveries and Revolution Rescue, whilst they're not repped on this plain black car here, as our other major partners for the team still. Hopefully we'll see some of the purple and yellow back on this thing in due course. And to all of you guys here, Sinker, Zach, and Paul, you actually is it just Jordan for the producing tonight there, I can see?
Tonight,
Yeah, thanks for making the broadcast possible. I guess I look forward to seeing what this looks like afterwards, and then to the admins of all three clubs who have come together to agree to keep this going here in the 7th iteration. Thanks for having a race for me to take part in here tonight.
Actually, Yamin makes a little bit of history, Sinker, if you don't mind me jumping in, because I think he's the first driver in Australian Open World National history to go from broadcast booth in event number 6 to podium in event number 7. So a little bit of personal history there for Yeoman tonight. A little niche stat for everybody to chuck in there.
Cracking bit of work, mate. Cracking bit of work. We love your work, Dan. And congratulations, mate, on a spectacular performance tonight. Well, let's get to the elephant in the room, which is not really an elephant because it's only a little tiny mouse. And we're going to get a chance to speak to a legend in the making who I've heard so many stories about, and so many people from different parts of the community talking about it as well. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the room, Seb Eskandar, taking the second place out tonight on his first attempt at the Australian Open Nationals, leading most of the race, and fuel strats and safety car took it the wrong way. How are you, buddy, and how was that for you, mate?
Yeah, hi guys, thanks for having me on tonight. It was a very, very difficult race. That's like a very simple way to put it. But it was just strategy, and unfortunately I didn't quite get it. Had good pace throughout the race, and then just after that safety car, I think I should just kept going instead of coming in. But I mean, it was sort of just a last minute call and followed everyone else into the lane. But yeah, pace was there, so I reckon just if I had that strat, would have gone and hopefully won the race. I think I was on to about 10 seconds up the road, but yeah, would have been good if I didn't screw myself up.
Well, just to give you a bit of history, Zach, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we've had a pole sitter win the Australian Open World Nationals yet.
No, I'm struggling to remember one as well. Seb at Zach, mate. Well done. Really, actually, Dan Yeoman's just left the house. I want to wish him and the rest of the Logitech G-Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport stable the best of luck, because even though it's not Dan individually, I'm sure he'll have some sort of input behind the scenes with his team stepping up onto the grid for the Porsche Pro Invitational this week as well. Chapo's doing the double. We'll get his thoughts on that in just a moment as well. Strong field lining up there. Both Vermilion and Orbit very well represented. But Seb, you mentioned it was a very difficult race. To be fair, right up until the safety car, it looked like a breeze. It looked like a Sunday afternoon cruise. It looked like a stroll in the park. You and Ryan Bell were having at it. We thought you were playing the patient game, just waiting to see where things sat after the second round of pit stops and then make your move from there, mate. And then, unfortunately, as you say, the safety car changed everything. What was the mindset behind either A, zigging like Ryan did, or zagging like you did, and running the gauntlet, and how close were you on fuel?
Funny you say that a pole sitter hasn't won. I had actually had 2 cracks at this last season in Adelaide and then here in the Bend, and I've spun myself out in Adelaide in the deadly chicane, so that was suboptimal. But yeah, back tonight, it was just, I think initially I was just gonna push, but then when Ryan got in front of me, I just started fuel saving and trying to go a lap longer, and then I'm not too sure if he came in 1 lap short or if that was the end of his tank, but I was able to get 2 extra laps and just push as hard as I could for those laps, and was able to get a 7/10 gap over Ryan, I think, when I came out the pits. But I mean, same thing happened again. He got past me, and then I just saved fuel behind him again. And I think in the second stop, when the safety car was called, I think he may have jumped his box or unticked tyres and then reticked them, because he just went up on the jacks a bit late compared to me, and I was able to jump him in the pits. But it was then we got to the safety car restart, and I just broke way too late with cold tyres and locked up into turn 1. Went straight, and then had to work my way through again, passing Doug, Geordie, and I think Tom came into the pits. But yeah, and then after that was just putting some decent laps in, trying to get a break, and then hopefully was praying at that time to overcut everyone if they had come in previously, which I did not manage to do to Sam, but everyone else I was able to do.
And hoping to see a second safety car, no doubt, because it would have helped you on the fuel front.
Yeah, second safety car would have been lovely. I reckon if the first safety car stayed out a lap or two longer, I definitely would have made it, because I was burning like 0.2 of a litre a lap, so it was going to be really close at that point, but it was just unfortunate. It came in when it did, and I didn't quite the fuel saving numbers right at the start.
Seb, have you got a boot? You have some people out there spotting for you tonight, or were you on your own?
Well, we had Kane, Denny, and Madeline racing, so it was just Vaughan in the team with us, sort of spotting all of us, and I like to keep them to myself to check everyone that I'm racing, like if they go up on jacks in their pit box or anything. So yeah, it was pretty intense for sure. Like every time coming out of the pits, you was going to make sure no one's coming, because it's basically a blind entry onto the track. So that was great to have Vaughan there watching that.
Yeah, excellent. You did a cracking job, mate. I'll tell you what, I think you got yourself a mega career out there. I hear you're doing a bit of open wheel racing in the real world as well.
Yeah, New Zealand Formula Ford just wrapped up the national championship on the weekend, actually.
Congratulations, mate. Congratulations.
Yeah, finished about 80 points short of the championship lead in the rookie season, so that was pretty good in a car that isn't optimal and engine that isn't the best. So I can put it to good use and hopefully showed some people what we're made of. And we got the Rodin cars wild card, so that's going to be interesting to do 3 days of testing in an F4, F3 and GT4 car in the test track.
Nice
work, mate. Nice work.
Where does the rest of the racing season sit for you, mate? Because I know you're a bloody good karter as well, and you were all in on that last year. It took you to the other side of the world and back. Is there any karting lined up for this year, or are you now all in on that circuit racing, using New Zealand as the outsource, the way to go about that until you're of legal age in the eyes of Motorsport Australia to go and ply your trade here at home?
Yeah, no karting. We've sold all the go-karts. Dad had enough of it at the end. But yeah, we have the V8 supercars around in Christchurch in 2 weeks, and Formula Ford is one of the support categories, so I'll be racing that. And then it's sort of then we have the Rodin test in a few weeks after that, and then nothing really till September, October. Around then, when the season starts back up for South Island, North Island championships and Formula Ford.
And how old have you got to be to get just one more, sorry, Sinker. How old have you got to be to be able to go circuit racing here in Australia? Because I know there's separate limitations with regards to age restriction when you go to somewhere like Mount Panorama, but what about the other circuits, mate?
All the tracks are really the same. It's more just getting your license from Motorsport Australia, and that is 14.
And they're currently 13, yeah?
Yeah, just turned 13.
So we've got to wait almost a whole year for you to be able to go circuit racing here.
Yeah, but that's all right. I get to do this all over again next year and hopefully win the championship.
I love the passion and I love the enthusiasm. But mark that name down, ladies and gentlemen. Take a screenshot as you watch it on YouTube right now. Sebastian Escandari. That's a name to jot down and keep an eye on in the future. And, of course, you can start that by tuning in to Fox and KO when the Formula Ford support the supercars in a few weeks' time on the other side of the Tasman. The Christchurch event, you said, which is the second of the two, which is the April 17, 18, 19 weekend. So do keep an eye out for that. Sinker, anything else?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Sebastian, I'm assuming the long-term picture is doing F1, and I'm just thinking someone out there in this world of motorsports should be already talking to you and getting you lined up to skip Australia altogether, mate, and get yourself overseas, the Formula Renaults and the smaller classes out there, and start building your trade out there. So, people like yourself, this is where it sucks in Motorsport Australia. We don't get a lot of people out there, but a lot of these people are out there waving their mouth around that own Boost Energy, Boost mobile phones and stuff like that. When it comes down to supporting the nuts and bolts down the bottom end to getting real good drivers out, if you're listening out there, Peter Adderton, this is the kind of fellow you should be supporting, not going off about how good your phone is and what people should be doing, what caps people should be wearing. Mate, is the goal F1?
I mean, yeah, for everyone, the goal is F1, but at the moment with the budget, I don't really think that's possible, so it'll more just be supercars. But I mean, starting off in these few weeks that we are the support category for them. I guess just showing them and all the supercar teams what we can do with our machinery will be very good, and hopefully they see something in me and start to talk amongst each other, and then hopefully pick me up soon.
Well, if anyone knows Mark Webber's phone number, reach out to Sebastian as well, mate. Congratulations, dude. It sounds like you've got a very level head on your shoulders as well. So it's not just that you're a quality racer from what I've seen, but you're a smart kid heading in the right direction, and well above your years in brain than your age, mate. So congratulations. Who gets Mr. Sebastian Eskandari out on track, mate, and supports you at the moment?
Yeah, thank you guys for saying that. In real life, I've currently got sponsorship by Napa, and then here on the sim, E-Paints is our main sponsor with all the liveries and helmets and stuff. And then just the guys in the team, Vaughan, Kane, Ben, for helping and bringing me into this.
Amazing work, mate. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at 13 years of age, Sebastian Eskandari has taken the second place of the Australian Open Wheel Nationals, mate. Congratulations, dude, and good luck with all your future endeavours, mate. I think you've got some amazing times ahead of you.
Yeah, thank you. Hopefully I'll be here next season.
I hope so too, Seb. Well done, mate. All the very best. A lot of work and a lot of miles coming up for you in the next short while. But yes, dead set, a name to watch, not just on the sim, but in the real world as 2026 plays out. Good on you, mate. Appreciate that. Sinker. We started this post-race show and Australia were 2-1 against Coruscant. They're now 4-1, leading Coruscant. Goals are plenty at Amy Park.
So, I was going to plan to watch that back tonight and watch it without any results, but thank you, Zach.
You're welcome. I've just saved you 2 hours. You'll be fine.
Just take me 2 hours. Well, I'll get to do the fun bits and cut your lunch now. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3-time legend of Australian Open Wheel Nationals in the making. It's not in the making. He is the new legend of Australian Open Wheel Nationals. Sam Chapman from the GSRC admin, as well as a driver in their series, has done it again from the mid-pack. Sam, welcome to the room. You've been sitting there patiently waiting, mate. You have raced in the SRW before, mate, but I take my hat off to you. I did say that you'd be one of my wild cards out there early in the show, and you proved me right, and I think Zach was on board with that as well, mate. What a stellar drive. I'd give you share the award winnings with your pit crew, mate, because whoever was helping you with strategy is right on the numbers, mate.
Thanks, mate. I didn't really expect that one, to be honest. It was, when that final safety car came out, I just sort of went, it's too early to pit for the final time. It's 28 minutes out. I can't make it. And then everyone else pitted ahead of me, so okay, brilliant. We'll take some track position. That's fine. And then the safety car just kept staying out. Got to close to that 20-minute mark. I went, all right, well, if we're doing another lap, I better get fuel and back in the pack we go. So, very, very happy with that. I was convinced someone would be wise to it, but I'll absolutely take it. And congrats to Seb as well. It was lightning all night, so it must feel like a little bit of a stitch up. I'll absolutely. And then some. And then some. But and I was watching his time ahead and went, well, he's going too fast to be saving any fuel. So, and I knew that as long as I was about, a bit over 26 seconds, within that sort of mark, I'd be okay. So, but I wondered whether someone else would do it in between. So, absolutely happy with that. We'll take it. We just sort of wobbled around to the back, kept it clean, qualified horribly while faffing around with the wheel and, coming home from work late. And, that's a lovely finish.
Two things in that. Was that? Take it over, mate. Two things, mate. Two things. So we noticed 10 minutes to go, you started putting the pedal down, and to me it looked like this is where you thought, all right, I've got to make my charge. And then the second thing was we saw you come together. I think it was with Bell, and we saw some fibre fly off. Was that yours or was it Bell's?
I actually don't know. I I'd have to have a look back at the car because
Yeah.
no, we're fighting in the early stages. I had in my head, it's going to be easy to make it to the end. Like I'm just going to have to fight hard to get through some spots. I dropped back to about 24th place, so had to sort of try and weave back just what spots I could. I was sort of hoping for something in the teens, and then sort of everything reset, and I was having a look at the numbers and went, okay, no, actually there's a fair bit to save here. So, I found myself a spot on track that was relatively clear, and pulled back and just managed it for a while, and was then able to sort of push for a few laps and went, actually no, better pull it back in again, and then everyone else sort of started slowly peeling off, that was the game from there. So
Nice work, mate. Nice work. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a masterclass of fuel saving and racing strategy. No, they don't have to be the fastest guy on track to win races, mate, especially in event racing. And you've got that down pat. Zach, now you can ask some questions, and I'll come back in half an hour. I'm going to toilet break now.
Go for it.
I'm joking.
I can fill half an hour.
I know you can.
But I'm waiting for the same obligatory pit stop as you are, Sinker, so I will make it as brief as I can. Chapo, 26th is, I think, as far back as anyone's come to win one of these things. So another little bit of history there for you as well. It's just insane now that we're talking, and we are very well aware, and I said it in the call, we will never hear the bloody end of it from you now, that you've done this 3 times. It is insane to think that it fell into your lap that way. But it was obviously a very late decision once it was known that the safety car was going to go around again. And we were asking the same question, when the hell is this thing going to end? Because we thought it had started to drag out. But it was obviously in that moment when you saw that it wasn't going to pit lane that you thought, well, if it's not, bugger it, I will. But you chased your tail all night, mate. Plus 10 in the opening stint. That was an impressive start on a track that, yes, okay, overtaking opportunities are there, but given the pace of this field, it wasn't clear-cut. It wasn't straightforward.
I mean, on the safety car, like I was actually getting frustrated behind it going, this is actually a really good position. Now I'm going to lose this track position because, they're going to be able to make it to the end, it was a very last-minute call. I actually couldn't race control. I was actually going in this lap. Nah, okay, all right, we'll have to take it. Sorry, what was your first question? I'm all over the place, mate.
That's a very good question now.
That's all right. Yeah, you just got one as well.
You chased your tail all
the
night.
rest of the night. Yeah.
And from 26th in qualifying, mate, 10 positions in the first stint. That was impressive, but you had to keep going. And thankfully, the safety car fell into your lap. Strategy went your way. It could very well have been you on the receiving end of some damage in that incident with Ryan Bell. So you rode your luck in many respects as well. But I couldn't help but think, as we were talking fuel right there at the very end, I was having flashbacks to Okayama and the cheeky fuel saver viewer missed your game, and it was Okayama flashbacks.
Yes, Okayama flashbacks. Algarve a few AOWNs ago.
Yeah.
Marcus. It was a bit cheeky, but I was chasing. It was a decent first stint, made a fairway, and a lot of that was pretty early on, and then I started managing the pace because I wanted to, on the off chance that there wasn't a safety car, you wanted to get to that 17 lap point so that, you only had 2 pit stops. Once again, relatively long pit lane. You don't want to be in there an extra time. So sort of like pulled it back towards the end of that stint. And then the second stint was, actually was a bit chasing my tail. Like I was sort of trying to save fuel, but I had, pretty aggressive and quick cars behind me and sort of fighting me as well. So was trying to keep them behind, and then, went, okay, well, we're going to have to let them through and try and just hold him behind and see if we can manage the race from there. Once again, it is a case of, there's always some luck in not getting absolutely sent at any point, but for the vast majority of the race as well, I was largely avoiding, too much aggressive conflict when it came to risk, because, you know how these things can go down, how people race, and, it's, they're always a little bit risky. It's a whole bunch of people that, don't race together often. Other thing I'll say as well, thank God we've got the high downforce setup back, because that medium downforce setup we ran this season sucked. That would have just understeered out of the final. It was so nice to actually drive the car with that front end grip once again. It was like coming back to an old friend after, a season where the car just felt completely different and would have driven completely different around here. Would have been much quicker on the straights, but just understeer through the corners. So, I was very happy with that.
Quick question from me, which is a rarity, but Yeaman said earlier he coughed and spluttered out of the final corner. How good were you on juice?
I was okay. Like I coughed towards the end of the main straight. Oh, actually, no, I think I was able to get like.
You got a couple of donuts in.
Yeah, I got one donut in and then it coughed. I did try like on the final lap when I saw that I had about 8 seconds. I was like, I can, pull back a bit earlier this lap and see if I can, try and get a donut in. But yeah, I didn't have. There wasn't heaps to spare, to be fair, and not as much to spare as I had at our put it that way.
I love it. And the other thing within all of that as well, we saw you celebrating, weaving left to right, waving to the crowd on your way home, mate. We would not have laughed. We would not have laughed if that had come back to bit you on the proverbial, by which I mean just a simple spin or a run off the circuit or whatever the case may be. We would not have laughed. I said in the call, just get to the line already, then celebrate to your heart's content. But a great start to a big week for you, mate, because, as I said earlier, you're one of 10, and I repeat, 10 Vermilion Esports entries lining up tomorrow night when we get to the Hockenheimring in Germany for the opening round of the Porsche Pro Invitational. So how quickly does your attention switch to that, and how much are you looking forward to that challenge, knowing again that it's such a heavily stacked field of talent, just like tonight was, completely different playing field, 2 races instead of 1, and 2 races of a 12-round championship as opposed to a one-off. Yeah,
indeed. I think, well, and without strategy now that they're running sprint races as well. So
correct. Yep. I knew you would have been thrilled about that.
Yeah, I'm on the fence because like sprint racing it's a lot of fun and it's good, and it sounds like they're going to do reverse grids for a bit of it as well, which I like. I think that will create intrigue, but yeah, like I obviously like the strategy side too. So, but yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to that. We've got a really strong group of guys in there that should be able to take it to them. Between us and Eclipse, I think it will be very interesting. You've got obviously those really, really quick guys in Eclipse that I'd expect might be just a nose ahead, but we'll see how it looks. Pace looks okay at this point, but I probably haven't done as many laps as some. I'll have to get my head in the game on it pretty quick smart, given it's less than 24 hours away. But like I quite like Hockenheim. It will just be finding that consistency, that consistent pace, particularly through like your turn ones, that middle sector, and right towards the end of that lap there, making sure that you can get that right, not overheat the tyres, and not find yourself in too much trouble. But I think there's just going to be battles all the way through the field as well. So there'll be some risk mitigation that has to go on there, and it'll be some pretty tough racing. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it, and looking forward to doing it with the team, with a quarter of the group.
Now, be honest. Before the safety car was deployed, where were the goalposts? Because we were probably ruling you and many others out. We were looking at that as a 2-horse race, Eskandari versus Bell. And then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 different strategies at play. Everything gets thrown into, some sort of spiral. We've got all sorts of pandemonium unfolding on the racetrack. Because the form guide, the script and everything else got torn up and thrown out the window. And as Sinker said, we highlighted you and we said, right, Chapo's dived there. And I was crunching the numbers and I was like, Chapo can do this. Chapo's on here. So was Ryan Bell. Where were the goalposts before all the proverbial hit the fan and you got brought back into the fight?
Really, maybe top 10. I'm always happiest when the script does get flipped, and we can on the run make some strategy calls, and you should get them right, at least touch wood. So that's good. But yeah, it would also depend if the other guys could make that extra fuel stint. It was probably going to be a 52 lap race, which would have been 17 and 18.
Yep.
I think Seb did 18 in the first stint, which is why I thought he was going to make it, because he was going pretty quick and able actually to save a lap more fuel than I did in that first stint.
Yeah.
So I was surprised when I saw how much pace he was pushing out front, knowing that, you know, it was still going to be a relatively long run. It would depend how many of them were sort of wise to the 2-stop rather than the 3-stop. If they were wise to it, you know, anything, probably would have been, you know, maybe the latter end of the top 10 if I was lucky. But, you know, there was a fair field spread by then as well to deal with. And, you know, I would have had to try and make that pace back up too. You know, I had decent pace, but, you know, getting through the field wasn't simple, and you very quickly lost a lot of time, and time is really, really difficult to make up in these cars with a really, you know, closely bunched field on pace.
I think Sinker will agree that the earlier you pitted in that safety car procedure, it was, you know, an openly glaring admission or commitment, if you like, to a 3-stop strategy. You leaving it late was an instant, oh, hang on, the 2-stopper can work, and that's the benchmark. That's the guy you got to watch. Sinker, anything else from you, mate? Because, I mean, really, we've covered a lot of ground with this bloke over the course of 7 Australian Open World Nationals, because he's been in the booth as the winner more times than anybody else. He stands unsurpassed, unmatched at the top of the summit at the moment, and a true testament to the underdog that the GSRC loves to be, because let's be perfectly honest, we weren't backing him in at 26th on the grid. Yep, we said maybe a roughie, but we weren't backing him in that far back in the pack, and then all of a sudden, you know, safety cars as Oscar Piastri and George Russell will only attest to, well, throw the script on its lid. Quite extraordinary.
It is an amazing performance, and I think at the end of the day, people that know about Australian Open Nationals or will hear about the Australian Open Nationals, there's only one name that's going to stand out, Sam, and it's going to be you, mate. It's going to be hand in hand. When people think of the Australian Open Nationals, the first name they will mention is Sam Chapman, because he's a 3-time winner. And I'm a very proud dad, being part of the inauguration of what we've done here with the Australian Open Nationals. And you have created a legend in your own timeline, mate, which is amazing. And I completely take my hat off to you and come back and race at SRW. So I can get a win.
The on-air recruitment process has started, ladies and gentlemen. Go for it, Chapper.
Oh, Sam, where are you? Has he gone as well?
Oh, no, it sounds like Greg Haney trying to do recruitment. I respect it.
For his team. Yeah,
absolutely.
Mate, seriously, you need to sit back and think about what you've achieved. It's no small feat. It's not a league race. It's an event race, which is completely different to a league race, and your name will go down in history synonymously with Australian Open Nationals, mate.
Thank you, mate. It's I mean, I've enjoyed racing in every one of these events. Like they're a great thing. You know, there's not many races where it is, you know, you bring together a whole bunch of different people. You know, it's a one event race. You know, you have to think it through. You can't be thinking towards, you know, the next one or anything like that. It's just one hit and go. So I've enjoyed every one, and, you know, obviously thank you for you guys putting it on. I know it's a big logistical effort as well, particularly now with 3 clubs, bringing all that together and you know, getting all the graphics together and that sort of thing to match. I'm sure is a big logistical effort. So thank you for putting it together and giving me that opportunity.
Not least finding a date that works for everybody as well, Chapo. So no, congratulations, mate.
So.
Yes, and worth it in the end, wasn't it?
It was.
I love it. Well done, mate. It's not lost on anybody how big a week this is for the Australian sim racing community. The Open World Nationals tonight, the Porsche Pro tomorrow night. All eyes on both, even though they're on very different platforms, but we've got horses in each race. So go well with that. Maybe, with any sort of luck, we're talking to you this time tomorrow night as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Who do you want to thank before we let you go, Chapo?
Yeah. Well, a better fan of the team, so Vermilion Esports and their sponsors, so Hilo Setups, Lewis Greathead's online coaching, Ben Faulkner Media, Pacewell Fund, 27 Designs. as well. Got to thank Race Control for that safety car. Fit the script nicely.
You idiot.
And obviously all the other drivers out there, you know, for a good event. It was really good racing out there tonight. You know, it was close but fair. You know, and I enjoyed every second of it. So and obviously you guys for putting it together and all the teams. You know, I know Josh puts a lot into it from the GSRC side. You Sinker, Zach for commentary. You know, all of you guys. Big props because it's a great event, and you know we don't really see it anywhere else in the Australian sim community. So thank you all.
You're a legend, mate. Thank you, and congratulations. And I'm not going to say good luck for the next one.
Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Let's say Don Red.
Actually, what you have to do, Chapo, is don a livery that has a red target on the back of the race car, because you are the target of that's everybody's eyeing off at the moment. It just goes to show that you don't have to be the fastest on the night in qualifying. You don't have to start front of the grid, and you've done it 3 times, buddy. So, no, you're coming back with a target Chip Ganassi inspired livery, I think.
Thanks, well, man. That's tempting fate, but you know we'll give it a crack. I'll see if I can talk to the design team.
I love it. I'm sure you can. I'm sure your people can talk to their people and vice versa. Yeah, anyway, get out of here, mate. Go and get some prep done for the Porsches. Sinker, Dan Yeaman mentioned earlier he almost started thanking GSRC sponsors, but no, that's my job. We of course do it with thanks to the great people at Disruptive Labs, Waste Options, Trophy AI, merch.tgsrci.com, and Flash Graphics. So a big thanks to them. I didn't get a chance to acknowledge them earlier. Too much going on out on that racetrack, but they'll be delighted with what they've seen. Not least Sam Chapman flying the undermanned GSRC squadron into tonight. As I said, we came in with less horses in the race than the 3 teams normally we have on par, but not as much interest from the GSRC side of things this time round. Timing and a few other factors, I get it, right? But to come in undermanned, quantity was surpassed or in superior to quality tonight. We went with quality, and it showed with 3 in the top 6. As I said, Adam Lavis losing out 5th position there to Craig Edwards on the final lap. And some of those gains and losses throughout the course of the night are extraordinary, but that's the pendulum swing that came with that crucial decision whether to commit to a 3-stop or run the gauntlet with a 2-stop right at the end there. And again, the defining moment was that 8-minute safety car period, mate. Those that stopped early ended up getting caught out and having to come in the final 5 minutes. And only one safety car, bloody long one. It was giving off Suzuka vibes. It was running on that long. And if you've been to Suzuka in an iRacing server, you'll know how bloody slow the iRacing deployed safety car goes around that circuit. But in the end, it set up a spectacular conclusion where we didn't quite know exactly how it was going to play out, but we had our ideas. And Sam Chapman was in both of our mindsets there with regards to who might prevail here. And the seas parted and opened up beautifully for him. 3-time Australian Open World National champion, on par with his Silverstone performance. Nothing will top Portimao, though, winning it with about 5 metres to spare and leading that amount of time of the race only, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. So 3 unique wins for him, and one on home soil as well, Sinker. So I'm sure that'll sit nicely with him tonight as well.
It still sits nicely with me, even though he's not one of my drivers. But ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and give him take a massive bow, a big round of applause to the 3-time champion of the Australian Open World Nationals, Sam Chapman from Vermilion Esports, representing GSRC. Legend in the making, mate. Well done, Sam. That was Sam taking a bow. All right, we'll get him out of the room and we'll finish off things on. Sam, take care, brother. Good luck tomorrow night.
Thanks, fellas.
All right, cool. I dare say that might have been Sam having a bit of a teary moment then. It sounded like. We'll pretend that it was, all right? We'll just pretend.
The enormity of the achievement has finally sunk in. You know how you can't quite believe things until well after the fact? I think it's sinking in for Chapo now. Sinker. Hey, I know you're going to wrap up things from the SRW end. We don't have too much intel with regards to our friends from FDL, but we love having them part of this magnificent showpiece. Well done to them again for their participation and their involvement. We've loved that. They brought some top quality performers to the table. Not going their way tonight. They came out and carved up on debut at Mount Panorama Bathurst, so it was due inevitably to swing back in favour of one of the two original clubs. SRW's 7 wasn't lucky number for them. Maybe they're on the board in version number 8. We'll wait and see. From a GSRC standpoint, obviously I've talked about the Porsche Pro Invitational tomorrow night. Good luck to our colleagues over at the Australian Sim Racing Group and SimSpeed, the SimSpeed Esports Network, for everything that's coming up there, because they're an integral part of how that's all going to happen, of course, from an organisational and broadcast standpoint. So good luck to all involved. I'm delighted to be teaming up with Jake Sparry in the commentary box tomorrow night, and for the balance of the season as well. So backing up this week, it is week 11 for me. The GSRC is currently enjoying a fortnight off. No such luck for me, Sinker. But from a GSRC standpoint, this is the last broadcast you're going to see simulcast or, generic across our platforms until April 13. So from the club, a safe and happy Easter to you. And when we resume, it'll be at 7:25 Eastern Standard Time, Monday, April 13, the day before my nephew's first birthday. I'll be coming to you live from Cessnock on the back of a trip to Bega. We'll have Waste Options Monday Night Motorsport, Formula 3 back in business in the slot formerly held by the Super Formula Lights, then GT3. The rest of the week, not sure exactly what's going on with regards to broadcast at the moment, but Wednesday night will be the Toyota 86s into the supercars. So again, that support main course feature running as a theme throughout the course of the season. Same track, maybe a different configuration, but same track, 2 different categories in the one night. Thursday night, my voice box is in for a bit of a workout here, Sinker, because Formula V's back in business, ladies and gentlemen. We can't wait to go 6 wide here at the Bend. It'll be terrific. 3 sprint races there, each and every week, 10 rounds, leads into the coverage of the GSRC Porsche Cup. And then on the Friday night, something new for us, our take on the World Endurance Championship, the Gentleman's Endurance Championship, a mix of 60-minute, 90-minute and 2-hour races throughout the course of the season. Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, starting at 7:25 Eastern Standard Time. Remember that Eastern Standard Time. Happy New Year to our Queensland audience for this coming Sunday when you actually arrive in 2026. And instead of being a century and then some behind the rest of the Eastern Seaboard. And then, of course, had to get that jab in one last time because Sinker opened the broadcast with it. And on that subject, yes, Friday nights will be the exception of the rule, mate. They'll start at 8:25 Eastern Standard Time, 6:25 on the West Coast and 10:25 in New Zealand. So we've got a big term 2 to look forward to, and very much looking forward to a few days off, a bit of R&R, put the feet up, go and do some karting commentary in Bega, and then rip and tear back into it once more. It's going to be great fun. What's coming up from your end?
Mate, we are down for the count. We don't come back until after Easter as well. We're having a good 3 weeks off, well-deserved for all the team. But before I go there and spruiking about what SRW is doing, I'd just like to put a big, massive thank you out there to all that's involved in the back end, in all the admins for the respective leagues. I'm not going to go list them all off because I don't know who the admins are at GSR and down at FDL. But a massive thank you to the boys that are in the organising committee. Maverick gets involved, Greg Barber from a RC perspective, Dougie Gowans, Joshko, Darren Yeoman spends a bit of time in there as well, yourself and Tom Donahue. In respect to the FDL League, they are an amazing league out there that is growing with strength every season. So reach out to them via the Facebook from FDL and speak to Tom Donahue, who is the league owner. If you can't get a hold of them, I'm more than happy for you to reach out to me and I'll point you in the right direction. We're open community as far as racing is concerned, so we don't mind sharing the drivers out there. A few drivers will drive in all respective leagues and then choose at the end of the season where they're going to race. A big, massive thank you to all the participants across all 3 leagues to showing up and having a blast and making this series, this event as special as it is. As you've seen, we've got a 3-time champion now from Sam Chapman from GSRC and an absolute legend of a bloke out there. And following all that, stay tuned for when the next one's going to be. It will drop in between season 10 of the GSRC and season 10 of the FDL and the end of SRW season. We're having a break Sunday night. We have the night off, but GT3s is still going strong all the way through the break, so get a load of that. SRW's seasons will be opening, registrations will be opening tomorrow at some point, so get a hold of that. Tuesday V8s, Wednesday Super Formula Lights, Thursdays GR86s, and Sunday evening is the GT3 competition. So, yep, that's where we stand. A big, massive thank you to all the viewers out there.
Thinker, just before you sign off, mate, one important question's come in from our race winner, and it's something that you and I have not touched on, and we've been here for, what are we up to now? Just over 2.5 hours. Who won the club bragging rights battle tonight on points, please? Was it FDL or was it SRW? Because we thought with 7 horses in the fight, we might not have stood a chance.
Well, put it this way. It's usually Joshko that organises that part of it, and I think it was the lack of participants that he didn't worry about at this time round.
That's what I thought you were going to say. Yep, thank you.
Yeah, we'll have to leave that one for now.
Maybe that's some post-race admin for Jay Zuno to take care of when he's not burning the candle at both ends with his own workload and obviously his usual 9-to-5 exploits. Remember, folks, that's the big thing about all this. A big thank you, as Sinker said, to everybody that does it behind the scenes, because 99 times out of 100, it is on top of pre-existing work and family commitments that they are bound by with obligations and whatever else. You heard Yeaman talking about it earlier. Everyone's already busy enough, and then they take on a little bit extra onto the workload, onto the plate. So it's not lost on anybody. It is a thankless job at times, but it takes many people to keep the wheels turning here and make sure it all happens.
It does very much so. And thank you downstairs, Kobe, pushing the buttons for his first Australian Open Wheel Nationals. And also,
we've had a few co-drivers in here over the years, haven't we?
Yes, we have. And a big, massive thank you to the RC team tonight. Greg Barber, Tyson McAvoy, and Stephanie Bacoli for the safety car out there. But don't forget, ladies and gents, subscribe to all our networks, not just ours, and support the Open Wheel Nationals and get behind these drivers in all 3 leagues, because when they're out on track, they're out there just like anyone else out in the real world is racing. They put a lot of effort into it. It's their sport. It's their hobby. Just like any other sport, football, AFL, they're out there training. Some of these boys will train 2 to 3 hours a night to get to the level that they are in. So support them and share it out there. Thank you very much, Zach. Thank you very much, Kobe. Thank you very much to all the winners. And we'll see you all again in about 2.5 months or 3 months' time for the second one for 2026, the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. And thank you to the community for supporting all of us out there.